coming in? Is my voice coming in good? Let's see. Test, 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 test. Seems pretty good. I feel like I'm getting an echo in here for like the first time. I hope I'm not echoing. Good evening, Twitch. Thank you for joining me this evening. This beautiful Wednesday evening. Hump day, baby. Made it through the... It is Wednesday, right? It is Wednesday. We made it through the halfway point, and I hope that you are finding great success in your week so far. Turn that up a little bit, actually. Test, 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 test. Yeah, I hope that you're finding success in your week so far, and that the back end of this week, you're able to tie it off in a really good, productive ways. Beast, interesting. I got to fly on CGPAT in 2019, half a year before its retirement. I don't even know what that is, man. I don't even know what that is. But I will say, happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining me. And had a rudder incident. 2005, but was repaired and serviced to fly for the next 15 years. He had a rudder accident. It's an A310. Serviced for had a rudder incident in 2005, but was repaired and served. What was the incident? Beast Gaming, that what we're talking about is totally in theme with what we were talking about yesterday in our IFR safety, my 4-part IFR safety series this month, and I'm just having like such a great time talking about those things, and I'm really excited for next Tuesday when we talk about part 121, 135, and thank you so much for posting that. I'm gonna check that out actually later, and I absolutely will. This part 91 things, and so these IFR fatal accidents are gonna be really, really interesting to talk through and see where the oversights were, what things led to multiple links along the accident chain, that led to that accident. And what we're going to find is that a lot of it is things that we've talked about earlier on in the 4-part series. It's going to be things that we talked about with CRM and SRM and decision making. It's in human factors and spatial disorientation. It's in fitness for flight. It is in hazardous attitudes and communication. It is in automation mismanagement, right? And it is in a lack of discipline in standard operating procedures. So it's going to be a really nice way to tie the bow on the series of IFR safety. And I'm really excited. By the way, am I coming in clearly? Should the volume be higher, or how are the levels? Am I good? Just let me know. For those of you that are watching this 5x5 Java, thank you. For those of you that are watching that are either new to the channel or nice stuff, very clear, very cool. Cool mic, good investment for sure. And also a good arm, which is pretty interesting because like I had like a $50 blue arm, like the boom or whatever, and it's like it like broke. And I was like, what the hell? So I go on Amazon, I get this like $20 like user's best choice like arm. Dude, this thing is awesome. And it's like never gonna break probably. Watch, it breaks tomorrow. So anyway, point is if you're new to the channel or if you're watching this in the future and as a VOD, thank you so much for joining me tonight. My name is Philip, and I'm a certified flight instructor down here in Los Angeles. I absolutely love flight instruction so much that not only have I made these materials that I share with you on these days, these Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays streams, but I wanted to not only have I made those materials myself by going through all these publications and amassing my notes and the things that people way more experienced than me have already talked about, but I bring it to you and I bring it to Twitch for free, and I really just appreciate you joining me and wanting to be educated and wanting to grow, even if you're in if you're solely and exclusively a flight sim enthusiast. If not to grow just for that reason, so that you do sim better, then fine, then perfect. That is what my job is. That's what I'd love to do. That's what I want to do. If you are a student pilot, or even if you're thinking about being a student pilot, if these videos and this dialogue that we have and these lessons inspire you to maybe go and do your first lesson, dude, boom, there you go, right? And you can even get in touch with me for some one-on-one training, like tutoring through the whole process. I can train everybody from the private pilot or even a sport pilot all the way up to the CFI and the CFII. Although I'm not a multi-engine instructor, so I can't do the multi. But I am multi-engine certificated, commercial multi-instrument certificated. So I just wanted to say that I appreciate you, and I appreciate positive energy and your enthusiasm. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are traditionally the days that I stream. So Tuesdays are usually, I run IFR Tuesdays, where we'll discuss IFR subjects and sim some in the IFR environment, various airplanes. Wednesdays, we've got private pilot, ground, and sim Wednesdays, and that's tonight's ground and sim is based on landings and landing techniques. I did randomly, for some reason, have weather theory tonight, which actually would have been really cool. That's something I really enjoy talking about. It's very interesting, and it would have been really cool. Next Wednesday is weather services, and so you see that's kind of what I was gonna go for there, and connect the two. But whatever, we could still do weather services next Wednesday. Maybe the standard weather briefing is on there. But what was it? Just yesterday, actually, I think, or maybe a couple sessions ago, somebody was like, "Hey, could you show me how to do landings? Like, I'm gonna go for a check ride soon. Can you give me some tips on some landing?" Matter of fact, that was on Flying Skills Thursday. That was last Thursday on the 11th, when we were doing ground and sim on lazy eights and eights on pylons. These kind of advanced maneuvers, and we were doing them in Microsoft Flight Sim. Amazing. And on the way back to Long Beach, they were like, "Hey, like, can you show me? I have a check ride coming up in a couple of weeks, I think, and landings. Can you give me any tips?" So we did a couple laps in the pattern, worked on landing techniques, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do that private pilot, ground, and sim on Wednesday, next Wednesday, today. Let's just do landings instead. Weather theory, like, dude, it's important, but listen, we're in the sim, right? We are in the sim. Weather is important. We need to know about weather, but it's like, look, we also need to know how to land, and I don't think there's anything wrong with like changing that up and catering to what you want, and what you want is what matters. I can teach it all. So if that's what people want, like, let's do it, and I think landings is one of those things that it's always good to brush up on. Same with weather, but I mean, landings is one of those things that it's like we all could be better at. And whether that's crosswind landings or landing heavy aircraft, or how to actually like land short field or whatever, I think it's just important to really break down that whole process. Many of us, what happens is especially if we're only in the sim, our flying might be great, but we come in for a landing and it's actually a hard landing, but we don't experience that because we're in a comfy computer chair, and maybe you hear like some loud bang outside or whatever of this in the sim, and you're like, oh, that was probably a hard landing. It's like, well, let's get better at that. Let's get better at really easing the airplane on. And I get it, the sim is a lot harder than real life. The sim is not easy to fly in general, especially to land, and it is a lot harder than in real life, I can assure you. But that can be a good thing. I believe that that's a good thing. That I, as somebody that believes very strongly in hard conditioning, like sports conditioning, I believe in those 2-a-days, that hell week, in sports. I believe in that hard off-season training, because when it's game time and it's for real, that the team that had the hard that made it through the harder, more deliberate off season, that's who's gonna win. And so let's do it. Like let's go and be and tackle landings in an environment where it's harder to do it, and condition ourselves for if we are flying in real life. And even if you're not flying in real life, tonight's lecture is still for you because you're in the sim. And it's like, let's have like a nice landing. Let's have a controlled descent. Let's make sure that the aircraft, the fuselage is aligned with the runway. Let's make sure that we can respond properly to crosswind landings. Let's do it. Let's do it right. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Tomorrow, Flying Skills Thursday, I've got what is it? Special the LAX special flight rules, and then I want to cross country down to San Diego, and look at the San Diego VFR corridor. These are two things that are often synonymously like interchanged. Like, people interchange these things, but the fact is they are very different. And we need to understand that. We need to understand from a chart symbology standpoint how different they are. The special flight rules area versus the VFR corridor, how they're different. What airspace are we in exactly? And how can we tell chart symbolically like what we're doing? So tonight, we'll do that tomorrow, 8 p.m. Tonight we're doing landings, and with that, let's get into it. Oh, and by the way, I'm wearing a samurai cat t-shirt. Ooh, boom. Look at this thing, man. Love it. Super badass. Look at him. Yeah, dude. Okay. Actually. Oh. Okay. Sweet. So let me open up the ground here. Got my coffee. The coffee of regret. It tastes so good in the moment, but damn, when I'm trying to go to sleep tonight, oops. But that's okay. Yum, yum. All right. So we got landings. Danny! What's up, dude? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Private pilot, normal takeoffs and landings. How you doing, man? It's been a while. Good to see you. Normal landings. I've been good, man. I've been good. I'm putting together a presentation. I don't know. Do you know what Oshkosh is? That the aviation event in usually in July. They just started doing them again for after COVID and everything. All the quarantine has been, they've lifted it to do this humongous event. And I'm getting a presentation ready, a 1 hour presentation or I guess it's 50 minutes or whatever, 50-minute presentation to hopefully give at this event. So I got to make sure that I got to write them back. Actually, I didn't hear from them. I wrote them a couple days ago, but give them some more time. Should be really cool, man. Got some other things going on. Flight instruction's been good, and got a phone interview for a job. Hopefully that will work out. Phone interview for just an additional job. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still doing flight instruction and stuff, but an additional job. Got to set up a phone interview, so should be good. Okay, guys. So normally in this lecture, so this lecture right here is takeoffs, normal takeoffs and landings. So in this larger lecture, what do I talk about? takeoff technique, flying the pattern, right? Different types of landings, the constant attitude and power variable airspeed approach, the CAPVA, P or CAPVAA, constant attitude and power variable airspeed approach. That we're starting to talk about the way that we come down now, but tonight we're going to be focusing on normal landings. That's what we're going to talk about. Turn my cat toy on. And flying solo. All right, cool. So first things first, okay, like, and this is important, especially if you are a student pilot or you're thinking about going for a demo flight, or even as a certificated pilot and you're trying to get better at landings, right? But mostly as a student pilot, you can't obsess about landings, and I think this is true for the sim too. You know, it does inevitably come. You know, Zach, what's up, dude? Good to see you, man. It does inevitably distract you from other things that are important, and landing is really important, but it's just there's so many different skills involved that you do need to be patient and trust the process. When you are talking about landings as well as takeoffs, what we're trying to do is just stay relaxed, and this is very, very important because as we come down, how can I stay relaxed, right? If I don't know how to do it, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to how to actually do it. But a very important prerequisite is to relax, and because only in a relaxed state can you be present. Only in a relaxed state can you take this information that's coming at you, such as the runway shape, what the sensory information, vibration, what the energy of the airplane, the sound of the wind over the wings, sound of the engine, you know, radio calls. Only by being relaxed can you take in all these different, you know, auditory, you know, vision, kinesthetic, tactile, sensory stimuli. Can you take all that in? If you're not relaxed, the water level's high and you feel like you're drowning, you're deaf, you're not even putting together what you're blind. All these things are there. So we need to stay relaxed. Be patient. You know, be patient with, even if you're only in the sim, be patient with your landings, because you like the only way to get better at landings is to develop new habits of standard operating procedures, like how to actually set yourself up, like on a even on a descent. You know, if you don't have good habits of putting the airplane in the right configuration for the initial descent, that landing's going to be really tough. You know, it was said to me before wise words that a good landing starts downwind, and it absolutely does, you know, and a good downwind, a good base to final, a good final leg, you know, a good flare, like all that stuff comes from good habits. Yeah, and don't trip. Your solo's going to be easy peasy. All right. So we're not going to talk about takeoffs. We're going to talk about landings. So it's all good. If you guys have questions, we can definitely come back to this. Okay, normal landings. Lego. Pretty nice. Pretty cool GIF. This guy's coming in pre-stabilized approach. Looks good. Maybe a little bit of wind. Little 152. It's kind of remarkable, actually, watching this. You see the wings. You know, the guy's got his ailerons moving, and you know, he's keeping the airplane centered. It's kind of crazy to think, you know, about a couple different things. First of all, it's crazy to think that something this small and docile can also be quite a challenge to land. That's the first thing. It's a pretty humbling experience, and I think that you know, it's really important that even with something like this, that we're honest with ourselves about, you know, how that went and what can we learn. But number two, it's also really crazy to think, like, if you could land this airplane and understand, if you could land it perfectly and can understand those, if you're really fast and if you have those good habits, and if you can master those, or at least, you know, walk the path of mastery, like toward those skills. I don't know if you ever become a master, and that's great. That landing this 152 masterfully, dude, you could land a lot of different types of airplanes that are that are a lot bigger, a lot more powerful. And that's the truth. That is the truth. Are you going to have to understand in order to really competently understand the systems of those higher order airplanes? Obviously, yes. Are there nuances to those higher performance aircraft that are way harder than the 152? Obviously, you know. But the point is, man, is when it comes to energy management and behavior of an airplane when certain things are done, and what are the core, when you distill all the bullshit aside, all the differences, and you look at the middle of that Venn diagram between the jets and the 152, and you look at the middle section of that Venn diagram, that's where it's really at. And that's what I'm saying. There's a lot more things right in the middle zone of that Venn diagram that you might realize. First, let's talk about the 3 stages of a good landing. All right. And the reason why we're going to talk about the landing in terms of 3 stages is to simplify and demystify this process. So these are the 3 stages. Okay. The approach, and then the two happen very rapidly after each other. So you got the approach, the flare, and the rollout and the slowing down to a taxi, which is kind of in one. The rollout, you break the airplane. You you do not break the airplane. You apply the brakes, and you slow the airplane down. Okay. But the approach, the flare, and the rollout. So stage 1, what we're talking about, we're talking about from initiating flaps, extending flaps to the flare. That whole descent into ground effect. Where the flare actually occurs, where the level off and the flare actually occurs, is in ground effect. So for that whole prolonged period of time, that is the approach. What are we trying to do on the approach? What's our objective? We're trying to have a good descent angle, right? Not a descent angle that's too steep or too low. We need to understand, based on runway shape, like, how do we know if we're too low or too high, and what if we have a descent angle that is not good. We're trying to also manage airspeed. We're trying to not get too slow. The airplane's going through a lot of different configuration changes through this process. You're applying flaps, you're turning, you might be adjusting power, you're trying to hit different airspeed targets, altitude targets, maybe applying lowering gear, and you're doing different things, right? So it can be distracting. And as we go through this this change in configuration, it is possible for that airspeed to get away from us. And especially with all the different things going on, it's really easy to have airspeed like go by the wayside, and because you're handling radios, you're handling flaps, you're handling your GUMPS checklist, so power obviously is a big factor. You're watching out for traffic and collision avoidance. You're judging your descent rate. You're looking at the runway, and stuff. So anyway, airspeed is very, very important. And it's also crucial as something as like the factor of keeping the energy alive enough. You don't want too much energy. You don't want all this energy in this airplane, right? You want just enough to keep it alive, just enough. Rich of Peak, what's up? CFI, right? I remember you from Starflies. You're a fellow CFI, if I remember correctly. You got a emote right there, so I'm gonna throw one of my favorites your way right there. Bam. That's cool, man. Rich, like, feel free to like hop in here, dude, because as you know, like, and any pilot in here knows, like, landing is like one of the more real, like one of the most real deal things that you can teach and learn, and it's crucial. One of my favorite sayings, is like, takeoffs are crazy condor in the house. Takeoffs are optional, but landings are necessary. Takeoffs are mandatory. Yeah, takeoffs are optional, but landings are mandatory. Not my favorite saying though. My favorite is that CD in the house. What's going on? So anyways, dude, it's fantastic to see you guys, man. CD, I'm also really stoked to sit in on your Saturday Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. If you guys aren't already aware, so CD and Factual are they're organizing a cross country flight across Europe from north to south. Actually, very interestingly, north to south, where few of us have been are involved in uh, co-hosting this beautiful flight in these different legs, like down the continent. And I'm super pumped. I don't know what the leg is on the 20th, but I think that's a Germany, that you guys are going through Germany or something like that. So on the 20th, I'm co-hosting two of them on the 27th with Captain Arash, and on December 4th with Joey Bolo, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Berlin, Nuremberg, dude, I'm so there, dude. I'm so there. And one of the things that I'm really excited to is just to see like kind of how it works, because talk to Joey and apparently it's like through Discord or something. Like, is it a Discord video or something? Obviously, I'm gonna be flying it, you know, like with you guys, like, or something like. And so I just want to connect with you a little bit about that and like see how that actually is gonna work. So I'm looking forward. I'm gonna watch on Saturday. So definitely tune in and support CD's channel. Really cool guy, Microsoft Flight Sim, like main man, dude, and really really great channel that he does with Factual's wife, and really really nice people. Also Winglet, come on, dude, sells itself, dude. Cute little pup. What I would really recommend is not only going to his channel and supporting it, but I think through bits you can feed Winglet treats, dude. Little baby. I want to make that puppy fat. Give her all of the treats. All right. Mishak, thank you so much. I'm about the most junior member of the entire team. Don't be modest. Don't be modest. Point is, man, well, when I say main man, you know, you're the man, dude. It's a good thing. Anyway, point is, go and support the channel. Really great guy. A lot of good aviation education there. Really fun community thing of flights, and just great insight on like what's to come next in Microsoft Flights in 2020. It's a great community and a great place for all of us to tune in, contribute, you know, be heard, but also like play an active role. Like those community flights, you can fly and everything, and it's just really great. I really look up to that, to like what they're doing. Like I really want to, you know, follow in the wake, you know, and it should be really really cool to, you know, do more with you guys. It'd be a lot of fun. Point is, dude, landings are hard, and you got to control your airspeed. See that? Segue. Not exactly. Now, here's the other thing. Runway centerline track. Airspeed is obviously really important, and you know, not that the descent angle isn't important. Like we're trying to be stabilized, right? But here's the thing that is what, for some reason, and I think I know why, but for some reason, this is one of the skills, or one of the control inputs that is like the first to go in when you're learning landings, is runway centerline and tracking straight. So these are actually two separate things. Mishak downloading Microsoft 2020, 60% after 2 hours. Worth the wait, dude. Worth the wait. Runway centerline track. This is actually a two-part deal. What we're trying to do when it really comes down to it, assuming that everything else is constant, that your descent rate is good, that your speed is good, and therefore your energy, right? What really, really matters is that you are down the center line. There's a huge pat. Probably not the best time, but hey, gonna tell you anyway. keep the fuselage of the airplane pointed down the center line of the runway using your rudder, right? Using your pedals. And then you want, that's to keep the airplane pointed down the center line. Now, if you have wind, what's going to happen is being pointed down the center line, it will blow you off track, right? Your center line track is not going to be correct. And, 5 new planes? Hey, wait, what's being added? Oh, that's a surprise. He can't say. They got a sniper on him. It's not a surprise at all. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I feel like actually... Yeah, sorry about that, man. I feel like you maybe said it, and I'm just, like, drawing a blank. But, so, yeah, rudder to keep the airplane down the center line, and then aileron to combat the wind and actually keep the track straight. So, we'll talk about that. And then the flare point. So, we'll talk about that. How are we going to do this? So, first of all, the way that new planes coming tomorrow. F-18, Pilatus PC-6, very cool. Velocicopter, the Cub, and the Pitt Special S1S, plus the Reno Air Races expansion pack. Wait, Reno Air Races expansion pack is tomorrow? Is that what you're saying? Yo. Oh my god. Dude. Oh wow, dude. Oh happy day. Oh happy day. Makes me think of Sister Act. Game of the Year edition is free upgrade for everyone tomorrow. Love it, dude. Love it. Get your hands on that Microsoft Flight Sim, you guys. And looks like there's a lot of great content coming. Love it. I'm totally there, dude. Dude, Reno Air Races with IR tracker. Yo. That's going to be awesome. So, stage 1, we're talking about the approach. How do we execute this approach? We've got our flaps extended, and we need confidence that current descent angle, the current attitude that we're in, and that power setting will maintain the speed that you want to take to the flare point. Now, 2 schools of thought here that are both right and they're both wrong depending on the situation would be to change power or to not to change power. That is the question. And I'm holding like a skull, and I'm dressed in like Shakespearean garb for some reason, and it's like, why are you dressed like that? This is ground school. And it's like, exactly, that's why I'm dressed like that. And they go, I don't get it. And you're like, exactly. And so to all right. The living rat the living rat followed. Thank you, dude. Thank you for the follow. Point is, man, is to change power or to not to change power. And it's really, when you're first learning how to land, it is better to actually try to execute constant attitude constant attitude and power variable airspeed approaches, CAPVA. And we can talk about that another time. It's a specific type of landing, but right now we're kind of just staying general and what's going on. But when I say here a power setting that will maintain that speed, and that you want, or at least that the power setting that you set, and the attitude that you establish will, as you apply flaps, like that, the speed decay is controlled, right? That you're on speed for that leg of the pattern that you're on, right? That's not to say that you need to be 80 knots on final, but maintaining the speed that you want to be at, because with certainty, the same power setting should get you 80 knots on down, depending on what you're in. But in a 172, we should be 80 knots on downwind, 70 knots on base. We should be 75 downwind to base, 70 on base, 65 going into the corner, base to final, and then 60 on final, and then over the numbers, over the fence, like 60, 55 or something. So There is a moment, like for example on base, where you want to be holding 70 knots and pitching for that, but you have to evaluate, is your power setting such that in maintaining 70 knots, now you're way lower than you should be. Like if that power setting is low, then you got to pitch down a lot to maintain that speed. So you do not have confidence that that descent angle and that power setting for that attitude is good for you. You don't have that confidence, right? So that power setting, and usually what I do is all with a student, I'll tell them to read that constant power setting is like 1700 RPM, assuming like 21 or something in the downwind for 80 knots. 17 is a nice rounded one, and that descent rate is slow enough to where you can like respond and changes are not occurring. 1500 RPM is pretty quick, and then power off is obviously the quickest. So that it really starts with power. Remember that the axiom is power plus attitude equals performance. So it really starts with power. Take it from a one-armed pilot, an amputee pilot. It starts with power. As the runway gets closer, so you're at a good power setting, your descent rate is good, you're hitting your airspeed and your altitude targets, you're configuring and the flaps are extended. I'm a partial flap guy on landings, by the way. Rich of Peak, feel free to chime in on your philosophy on Rich of Peak is another CFI that's in here, and any other CFIs, feel free to chime in. But what your flaps philosophy is. Mine personally is obviously do whatever the POH says, but if I'm doing a normal landing, and what I'll typically do is, obviously you train a student to land no flaps, partial flaps, and full flaps, but generally speaking, I'm a partial flap guy. That I'll come in flaps 2. I'll put that first one in on downwind when you're a beam, the touchdown point. I'll put the second one in on base, and I just leave it. And what that does is that forces the student, first of all, like without those barn doors all the way down, the plane is kind of like more happy, in my opinion. It's like, based on how what it feels like, the plane feels like it's more happy. Captain Seppi rating with a party of 11, awesome. What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for the raid, Captain Seppi. By the way, what is going on? Is Captain Seppi in the house? Super cool guy, follower of the channel for some time now, and welcome, Captain Seppi's people. My name's Philip, and I'm a certified flight instructor down here in Los Angeles. And tonight we are I do streams Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And Wednesdays are private pilot ground school and sim. And tonight we're working on landings, so we're doing some ground and sim on landing techniques. This was a personal request from a student that was in the stream last Thursday when we were talking about lazy eights and eights on pylons. So I thought I'd just keep that going. Let's see. You said I kind of flip-flop between both. It also depends on what I'm flying. Usually partial though. My philosophy is this: if you come in partial flaps, okay, the student must be more in tune with the power of the airplane to clean up messes. The worst thing I think we can do is train full flaps every single time, and the student's still going to make the same power and trim and attitude mistakes. The only problem is they do that with the flaps fully engaged. They don't realize how bad that is. You know what I mean? It's whereas I think if you're going to make those mistakes either way, then if you're set up partial flaps, by the way, flaps 20, that's a great power. That's a great flap setting. Those flaps are down there pretty good, So, right. Thank you, Howie, for the follow. I really, really appreciate it. Also, if you guys like this, I put all this information together myself. A lot of time and energy and money, like, to become a CFI, a double I, and to bring this information to you. So I really appreciate a sub or a donation to help keep the channel going. Be really awesome. I really appreciate it. The thing about partial flaps is if the student's going to make those mistakes anyways, and they're going to create messes that they need to clean up, if you train partial flaps, then you actually do have a final flap setting that you can, as a tool in your toolbox, you can deploy those last flaps if you really need to. And, obviously we train go around, don't hesitate to go around, but it's nice. But we also train to take care of problems early. And if you round that corner base to final and you're really trying to, if you're power idle, your carb heat's on and you're power idle and you're still stabilized, but you're coming down kind of at a good rate and you're getting closer and closer and you're like, you know what, like I can make this landing. My speed is great. My speed right now is 65 or even 70 and I'm still, I just turned final. Like might be a 3/4 mile final. And maybe mile final or something like that. And like I'm high. It's nice to be able to take care of that problem early. I'm going around, like your power idle, put those flaps in, dude, and get down there, but leave those flaps in. You got to train the right way. If you're going to go partial flap and use full flaps, don't be taking flaps out partial. Just reconfigure the airplane, right? It's not good to retract flaps on final in that low energy state. You will sink, and that is bad. And what happens is you're anyway, yeah. So do it the right way. But it's nice to have an extra notch of flaps as a tool to help you get down where it's not go around or slips, My main concern with having full flaps is the go around. That is another great point. Can be quite aggressive. So absolutely, full flaps in the go around. Now, here's the thing about full flaps in a go around. That's another great counter argument, or a great argument actually. Full flaps in a go around. Either way, going around, if you're full flaps, I do teach going from 30 to 10. I don't train going from 30 to 20 and then to 10. Like I go from 30 to 10. Number one is full power and arrest the descent, all those flaps in, whatever. Full power, arrest the descent. But then, yeah, you got to go to 10, get rid of the drag, but not all of it, and not all the lift. Get rid of the drag, but don't do it 0, all that power, arrest the descent, pitch for that cruise climb pitch attitude and that cruise pitch attitude, or that cruise climb sight picture. And then flaps 10. And then as that speed builds, yeah, pull up away from the ground and maintain VY, So I'm curious what your thoughts are about, the full flaps go around, like what exactly your position, I can appreciate that same position though. So as the runway gets closer, your primary reference shifts from the descent angle to your planned touchdown point, right? You're lined up with the runway. And, Zach, sorry, buddy, I missed your thing. So that's what happened to you literally 2 hours ago. Dude, that's what I'm saying. We're on the same page, dude. So as you get closer and closer, and that descent angle is good. And we're not using these lights out here. We are not using the VASI or the PAPI. You might have been taught to use those. It's not a bad thing to use to supplement the primary sight picture reference, which should be the runway shape. And this should be the primary reference for several reasons, right? Mostly because the runway is where you want to be. That's where you want to end up. But the other thing is not all airports have VASIs and PAPIs. So it's better to learn runway shape, shift your focus to the runway. And yeah, I got into a habit of only 2 notches of flaps and put in full flaps at tree height when I know I made the field. If I have to go around with the procedure is much easier because the flaps are already set to climb at the second notch on my Warrior. Yeah, Warrior. So yeah, Warrior. Yeah, 2. So yeah, so there you go. Okay, runway gets closer. Shift reference points from the descent angle to your planned touchdown point, and that planned. Okay, so note the runway shape. For example. Runway shape right here, we're looking at a squashed runway, triangular, too low. That is an indication, yeah, sure, you have the VASI out here, but they're not going to be that helpful. Like the answer is right in front of you in the runway shape and where you want to go. Rectangular is a runway shape that's a telltale sign that you're too high, right? So here's the situation. Look at this guy. He's power idle. you're 70 knots, there's just no way, dude. There's absolutely no way. Don't be pitching down right here. Long, elongated runway. What we're looking for is trapezoidal. We're looking for trapezoidal shape, and that's what's nice. Now, the runway shape is great, and runway shape tells you in the present moment how you're doing, right? The descent angle on a long runway like this, in the present moment, you're not doing great. In the present moment, you're not doing great with this triangular shaped runway, right? We need to do something about it. But it is possible to see a trapezoidal shaped runway to, in the moment, be doing great, but in 30 seconds, not doing great. And what is that glimpse into the future? It's this point of no apparent relative motion. You see here where, as this pilot, as we go to the GIF, I'll show you, this pilot is going down. This is a trapezoidal shaped runway. They're on slope, okay? But what happens is this approach end will expand toward you, and the departure end will expand away from you toward the vanishing, and infinitely into a vanishing point. And what we see are the sides of this trapezoid are widening, all right? So everything is expanding away from you and everything except for one point, and that's that point right there. See that point? Everything is expanding toward you, the sides are widening, and that point does not move, right? And so that point of no apparent relative motion, there's some media here that I got to do. That point of no apparent relative motion is insight into the future. If that point of no apparent relative motion is where you want, that's where you're touching down. That's where you're headed. So, for example, if you're out here and you see this trapezoidal shaped runway, but the point of no apparent, and that's a good shape, right? But the point of no apparent relative motion is like down here in the parking lot, that trapezoid is going to become a triangle in about 15 or 10 seconds. So it's that insight into the future. Even though it looks like this right now, it's about to look like this, because that point is out, where, if that point is where you're headed right for that parking lot, which means that you're low on energy. So what are you going to do ahead of time is by adding power, right? Power and attitude for performance. By adding power, we move, and by leveling off in this case where we're deficient in our energy, we add power, we don't climb, we level off, and we get back on a good slope. It's possible you might want to pull up a little bit, but you essentially want to just level off and just have it be. You don't want to go like now too high. You don't want to pendulum swing the other way. So it's okay to kind of climb a little bit, but you really want to just level off. This is true especially for the instrument rating when you're below a glide slope on an ILS. You want to add power and just have a VSI of 0 and level off, bring that glide slope in, and then descend. So that's why I teach that. But attitude and power for performance, in this case where the trapezoidal runway shape looks good, but the point of no apparent relative motion is in the parking lot behind the runway, adding power and increasing your pitch attitude a little bit to level off moves that point forward onto the pavement. And by power and attitude changes, we are able to manipulate the shape of that runway by moving that point up or down, forward or behind, right? Losing altitude, immediately add some power and increase pitch. If you're gaining altitude, reduce power and decrease pitch, right? It's them together. Now, if you are on speed, right? If the power is good, and if you're, let's say, like, if the power is good, and you're too high, right? If the power is low and you are too high, then yeah, it is pitch, right? It is attitude. But the fact is, it's still, even in that situation, power and attitude for performance. You check power's great. Attitude, yeah, let's pitch now. It's still together, And by the way, chances are, if you take care of this problem early, if your power idle and you pitch down for your altitude in order to maintain your speed, by the time you get on slope, you're going to need to add a little bit of power anyways. especially if you have flaps in there. So it's always going to be attitude and power together. Some people teach power for this and attitude, and power for this and pitch for this, right? Or no, it's not that. It's pitch for this and power for that. It's like, that's very confusing because sometimes not. Sometimes it's the other way. And with certainty, like when you're doing your instrument rating, the way that it works when you're trying to be constant airspeed all the time is when you're trimmed for an airspeed, yeah, power does control descent rate, and that's great. That's awesome. So, there's truth to that. But the fact is even then, it's still power and attitude for performance. So that is the better, more holistic view of them being tied together. Okay. All right. God damn, dude, this coffee is so good, dude. Don Francisco's, dude, medium, what is it? Medium roast? Not a dark roast guy. It's all right. Medium roast, Hawaiian hazelnut, bro, with some cinnamon, vanilla creamer. Yo. Runway centerline control. Okay, what are we trying to do? We're talking about drift. We're talking about centerline control means knowing how to correct for drift, wind drift, okay? If you're lined up with the runway and you see the airplane drifting, we need to use aileron. We need to bank into the wind to stop the drift. Now, the thing is we need both aileron and rudder to correct for this problem because no one of those two things is the fix all, like, for the situation, because they're two different problems. The wind's coming from the side, right? So it's pushing you off track. Okay, we need aileron for that. We need aileron to and bank, right? We need aileron to stop that drift from moving our track over. But here's another problem, separate problem, related but separate, right? The airplane wants to weather vane into the wind. That's a yawing issue. So you need rudder to pull that nose away from the weather vaning that it wants to do. And all that's going to do is make that wind push you over more. So that's where the rudder comes in, is keeping that fuselage lined up. But then the aileron comes in to compensate for that the drifting. All right. What are some things that we're looking for? All right. We're looking for the airspeed and the touchdown spot. Not to change the subject, but I'm having the L4, L5 TLIF fusion in February. Old military injury coming back to haunt me. Glad to see you doing well. Howie Itzer. L4, L5, I don't know what TLIF fusion is. I do know, unfortunately, what fusion is. That's fucking real deal. And I know that you said L4, L5. I mean, lumbar is serious, dude. That lower back, you're talking about some vertebrae. You're talking about some vertebrae, real fucking spinal shit. That's some serious stuff, man. So, I wish you the best, and I truly mean that from an empathetic standpoint, from an empathy standpoint. I was up higher. I was C, 4, 5, 6. I want to say T1. But yeah, L's, man. That's some shit right there, man. For me, a good landing starts out knowing your skipper. What's going on, by the way? Knowing your power settings and desired speeds and descent rates and being consistent, then add slight modifications, corrections. There's a lot of truth to that. There's definitely a lot of truth to that. And in a way, knowing those power settings and desired speeds and descent rates, for me, altitudes as well. Like, I teach power settings and then speed and altitude targets. So, and it depends on if, assuming you're number one for the field, obviously, right? So assuming you're number one for the field, we're talking about a power setting where a reasonable descent can be made, a descent rate can be achieved. And really what you're trying to do is with apply the power reduction and flaps and pitch to maintain your speed, to maintain 80, right? And so you're descending at 80, and then you're going to hit your first target of 900 to 1,000 feet, okay, above the ground. Once you're at that target, you should ideally be inching your way towards 75 knots. You should be at 75 knots, actually, as you're coming up to it. I kind of increase my pitch attitude as I'm coming up to my target. I kind of pitch up a little bit to start slowing down, 75 in the turn. And then I, lower, obviously like in the medium bank turn from downwind to base, you kind of put that nose down and keep that, you put the plane in a pitch attitude where you're now inching from 75 to 70, towards 70. Your next target is going to be flaps 2 on base. And on base, the targets are 70 and 700. 700 feet on a square base. When your wings level, square base, 70 knots, 700 feet. Base to final, you should be 65 knots, 500 to 600 feet above the ground, okay, and then inching your way towards 60. So I kind of but that should be a constant power setting, ideally, and then, like you say, with more time, you kind of add more variability where you add slight modifications. Maybe you add a little bit of power. Maybe you do variable power then, So I do like that. I do like that approach. I still new to flight and sim. Well, welcome. Your community is here, dude. So I used to think the slower the land, the better. Found out quick that not. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know about that. I flew a Delta as a passenger for 1 million miles, so not totally new to flying. There you go, man. Personal experience. So vision-wise, what are we talking about? We're talking about airspeed and the touchdown spot. Airspeed is a vision thing. We are watching, first of all, we are using our vision on our indicated airspeed. That's very, very important that we fly the indicated airspeeds. But we're also watching the things go by, as our true airspeed might be significantly higher than our indicated airspeed. We need to kind of be aware of that, okay? But also the touchdown spot, that point of no apparent relative motion. This is a nice shaped runway for this spot out here, right? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about these lights. But if that point of no apparent relative motion is right there, guess what? That power setting is too low, and those trees are coming up at you, and this is quickly turning into a triangular shape. We call that, we need to utilize that sight picture. We also, the sight picture wise, we need to be in a nice descent pitch attitude sight picture. We need to have that gap, a pretty good gap between the nose and the horizon. During most of the stage, you'll be cross-checking airspeed and the touchdown spot in order to evaluate these things, like we were saying, okay? Especially drift, right? This will start creeping over to the side. The center line right here will start drifting over to the side, and the whole thing will start translating over. And it turns out that what's likely going on is you're probably great on your rudder, but you're overloaded, so you're not doing any aileron. And then you realize you're drifting off, so you're going to go aileron back, right? But now for some reason your feet go dead, right? So you're doing a great job of doing one or the other, and nothing's getting done, So we're really got to be good about multitasking in our control inputs, making sure that we remember we have hands and feet. Do not fixate on any one thing. Check back with your speed. Check back outside, Do you have your landing gear down? Check back outside. Is the runway clear, Look at the focal point as shown here, but maintain pitch attitude. So here, as you're going into ground, this guy's right around ground effect. They're right about to get into ground effect. We talked about ground effect in a previous aerodynamics lesson. We said ground effect is the space. It's the band of air that is 10 to 15 feet above the ground, above the ground. And it's where induced drag really goes away. Like almost all induced drag goes away. And the reason why is because those wingtip vortices are not able to circulate around the wingtip. So it's really weird to land an airplane because you'd be doing this perfect approach, but you're like 5 knots faster than you probably want to be. Oh, not a big deal. It's just 5 knots. Well, no, you come into ground effect with those 5 knots, more energy. All of a sudden, the plane is floating for a little bit, and you're like, what the hell, you know? And you either leave ground effect or out of muscle memory or whatever, and it's like not good. It's serious ground effect. So yeah, as this pilot comes into ground effect, they want to be power idle, and that the vision from right here, their touchdown spot, needs to shift all the way down to the far end of the runway, and it's gonna stay there for just a few seconds before it becomes something else. Okay, vision airspeed can be very deceptive. So like visually evaluating your airspeed, you're saying, can be very deceptive. I totally agree with you. If the landing is going well, it feels like you're going really slow and you have all the time in the world. If feel like things are happening too fast, then it's a site that the approach, it's a sign that the approach is going wrong. Yeah. No, totally, man. Totally. So stage 2. Okay, we talked about stage 1, the approach. Sight picture, runway shape, point of no apparent relative motion. We're talking about rudder to maintain runway centerline. We talked about aileron, using our ailerons to bank into the wind and prevent that track from getting blown off course. Okay, what's happening in the flare? So the object of understanding what's going on in the flare, what's our object here? First of all, we need to recognize that we are in this spot, that we're in the right spot. How do we recognize that? Okay, we also need to shift our focus here from the far end of the runway to the side corners. We need to use our peripheral vision is the main thing in the final stages of a landing. It's peripheral vision. To evaluate sync rate, and yeah, we need to be able to see those sidelines, by the way, which is one of the many reasons why landing and flying at night is very challenging. Watching those sidelines come up as we're in ground effect with that power idle, we need to see those sidelines come up and understand that the flare is the process of applying gradual but continuous back pressure when in ground effect, power idle, and we see the plane start to sink. The flare is applying that continuous and gradual back pressure to slow that rate of sinking. That is what a flare is. And so, we need to recognize ground effect. We need to recognize that if we're doing well or not. Okay, how do we do this? At the flare point, the runway starts to at the point at which we need to start flaring and bringing that nose up. As you can see here, the runway sideline starts here and expands out. You see that? Boom, shifting like that. Starts there, bam, and then expanding. That is when it's time to start applying that back pressure. Now, here's what we don't want to do. We do not want to leave ground effect. We want to establish a level pitch attitude. Very gradual. We do not want to leave ground effect. As we start this back pressure, we need to shift the focus. We're going into ground effect, power idle. Shift your eyes to the side area. Right? We need to forget about that out there, right? We're going to pitch up. Forget about it. Move here. There we go. Slowly increase the pitch attitude to the landing attitude, which blocks your forward view. And just use that pie in the sky all the way down, and then when the nose gear is on the ground, then obviously stay the course. But some instructors will teach don't let the airplane land, don't let the airplane land. I totally agree with that. That's a good way to do it. I think I do not teach it that way. I teach it a more realistic approach where it's we do want to land, but the thing is it's not about preventing it from landing. You do want to hold it off, but you want to get to a place where you hold it off in a way where you actually allow it to sink, but at a rate that you control with back pressure. Yeah, well, I mean, Spitfire, is that true even in a wheel landing? In a wheel landing, the nose feels down. I haven't flown a Spitfire, but I do have my tail wheel endorsement. I've flown tail wheels in real life. I've flown decathlon, super decathlon, two different models of Citabrias. I've flown in a Pitts. What else? So, and I've done, you do wheel landings and it feels very nose low, you know what I mean? But generally in a 3-point landing, yeah, like that, you can't see anything, It's all sight, it's all that side area. You don't have the choice in the Spitfire. Yeah. So as the airplane sinks, reverse your thinking, try to keep the airplane from landing, hold it off the runway, and just increase pitch attitude. Yeah, dude. I mean, you're kind of going for a stall warning right before. Pretty nice. Must be in a nose high attitude, right? You want those mains to come down first, and then the nose gear. Don't give up in the flare. What a student will do sometimes is they'll get into ground effect. They'll find ground effect, assuming that they can find ground effect, right? They find ground effect. They go power idle into ground effect. They find that level pitch attitude, and then they stop. Then they don't do anything. They think that the flare is the leveling off, but it's not, right? The level off is just part of it. You level off, and as the airplane sinks, you continue to add back pressure, not leave ground effect, but you add the back pressure more, kind of like in a power off stall. Power off stall, right? You go power idle, and to maintain your altitude, like you keep that back pressure coming in, right? More, stall, relax. So it's the same exact thing. But for some reason down here at the landing, like, students, and I can imagine why, like they're either afraid of the ground or they don't want to stall or whatever whatever's going on. But what ends up happening is you land flat or you land hard. The nose comes down, right? As you lose that energy, that nose heaviness of the intrinsic in the airplane, the CG is all forward up there. That nose comes down and you land either flat or on the nose, So keep holding it off. Then the nose wheel settles and, you'll work on that speed decreasing. Be careful of ballooning. When I say increasing pitch attitude, and I still have to, put that on here. What this actually looks like, but we're going to look at it maybe tonight. But a student is either going to, the student may go into ground effect and not be gradual about the back pressure, right? You're going to, okay, flare time. And it's like, whomp, that airplane's going to leave ground effect, you're going to balloon up. Quick increase in altitude, extremely dangerous because you're low on energy. The problem is you're actually low on energy, but you don't realize it because of that performance increase that results from ground effect. It doesn't feel like you're as low on energy as you actually are, but that's a pretty sobering feeling when you do leave ground effect and that induced drag comes back and you stall or, you come near to stall. Like, dude, you've been having issues, If you can find a nice long runway, flying the length of the runway in ground effect is a great exercise. Skipper, that's one of my favorite exercises. When I teach students how to land, that's absolutely what I do. Assuming that the folks in the tower are cool with it, Torrance is a really nice place to do that. And not only is it a great exercise to learn where ground effect is and what ground effect feels like, but that's a great wind correction exercise. Where if a student, I utilize this exercise if a student is having trouble landing and they're having trouble keeping the airplane aligned with the center line, is I just add a little bit of power in ground effect, or I have them do it. You add 100 RPM or 50 RPM, just enough to sustain in ground effect, and we just fly the whole, especially if it's like a mile long or something, or 6,000 feet long, we just go the full length of the runway down the center line, and you get to stay in ground effect. You see the sidelines, you're very low to the ground. You're working on that confidence, not being afraid of the ground, but you're not landing. You're not going through these weird transitions of, flare and setting the airplane down and the nose gear and like braking and the reconfiguration or touch and go. You're just staying in ground effect, and you can concentrate on rudder work, or you can concentrate on the aileron work, or both, so it's a great exercise. Go around, right? Do not hesitate to go around. You might be able to address a minor ballooning. If you balloon up and you find yourself, losing that energy, just add some power, reestablish the landing pitch attitude. Adding a little bit of power will put a little bit of energy in. If you've ballooned up and you're losing energy, guess what? You need to put some more energy in. Add some power. But otherwise, really just go around. If you increase pitch attitude too slowly or don't at all, like I was saying, you'll land flat. Worst case, that nose gear, you crack that nose gear. Don't wait for you to pitch up and lose the end of the runway before you start shifting your eyes. Like, the reality here is, like, even right now in this video, you could kind of see the end of the runway still somewhat. But it doesn't matter. Just shift your eyes from the end of the runway. You know you're tracking straight, and move it over here to the side. All right. Focal point at the flare point. Awesome. Right, yeah, so just knowing your vision-wise, knowing what your focal points are. Coming in just before ground effect, right, we're tracking straight. We're making sure that we're going down the center. Focal points down there at the end. And then, boom, shift. Keep those eyes moving, baby. Keep those eyes moving. There you go, right? There's that shift right there. Power, back out there. Now that you're nose down, sure, you're out there, shift. All right. Use the proper sight picture. Pitch attitude will decrease when entering ground effect. Yeah, pitch attitude does decrease when entering ground effect. Don't let that happen. Level off and then settle. So knowledge test question, right? In ground effect, a lower angle of attack is needed to produce the same amount of lift than when out of ground effect, right? A higher angle of attack is needed. So that lower angle of attack, right, is it's an aspect of ground effect. Sync rate should be negligible. The airplane should be in a landing attitude. So yeah, without thinking too hard about it, like, again, we're using that flare to regulate the sync rate. That is the purpose of the flare. From touchdown until taxi speed, okay? This is another one to not really overthink, but we're trying to keep the weight on the main wheels, not on the nose wheel. Save that nose wheel. It's gonna, it might shimmy. Just keep it on the main wheels. Stay on the center line, extremely important. Don't give up, right? It's not over till it's over, until the airplane's parked. Shimmy, shimmy. Yeah, you want to stay on the center line, and then when you're taxiing off right here, right, like, stay on that yellow line. Nose is going to want to set... I thought they blew a tire on one of my first solos because of the shimmy. Oh, yeah, dude. Sometimes it's really bad, And it does kind of sound like that, doesn't it? Yeah, I didn't think about that. Hold that nose wheel off, As you know, Rich, like, hold that nose wheel off. It's going to settle back to the runway. Here's what you also don't want to do is when you touch down, students are like, oh, I did it. And it's like, they're like, no, dude. And then boom, they slam that nose wheel on the ground. It's like, dude, it's not over yet. Like, don't give up. It's not done yet, Hold that nose off and then let it settle naturally onto the runway. Maxwell, hi. What's going on, dude? You came on a really cool night. Landing techniques, man. No shame going around. Skipper, I think if you guys walk away with nothing else tonight, it's that comment right there. No shame in going around. Shame is not going around when you should have, or having any doubts that you should have, right? Maybe too proud. Maybe the approach was perfect, and I'm not going to mess this approach up. I'm not going to waste that good approach. I'm definitely going to put the airplane down. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Maintain directional control. Maintain that center line. Let's do it. Amazing topic today, dude. I'm glad that you're into it, man. I'm into it too. I had aviation or weather theory as what I wanted to talk about tonight, but then like I gave it a second thought after our flight last Thursday, doing lazy eights and eights on pylons, and that person wanted some help with landing. I'm like, you know what? Like, it's been a while since I've done landing techniques. Let's just look at technically like how to land, and just do like a ton of landings. Like, let's do it. Even do like different airplanes, same things. I think that sounds pretty cool. We could do like the 172. We could do the TBM. We could do the tail wheel. Landing a tail wheel would be pretty awesome, and see like what the differences are in the sight picture. So let's do it. Keep the yoke back. I'm Bandit. Good presentation. Hey man, I'm really glad you think so. Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, it took a lot of time. I made these GIFs like myself. I flew the footage, and then we had to make sure it was good footage, and then all the respect to Microsoft Flight Sim though for doing that, for producing this beautiful product that is allowing this education to happen. So when we're on the ground, the main way to not have that wheel shimmy up on you like that is and shake and rattle like all over the place is just keep the yoke back. Don't be quick to apply those brakes. Like just a firm brake. Like give them a chance to kind of cool off a little bit. Brakes, like just don't be slamming on the brakes. Again, you want to start with that pie in the sky. Looks good, man. Let's see here. And that might be it. Normal landings, go-arounds, okay? We do need to talk about go-arounds. Look at this guy. Look at that shit, dude. Wow. By the way, look how windy it is. This guy is weather vaning hardcore. This is not rudder that he's using to do this. He's weather vaning it. Look at the wind blow him over. Wow, dude. Crazy. No one's immune. To abort. Oh, you know what? There's an update today, tomorrow, the 18th. System update number 7. So, oh, you know what? Is there an update right now? Should I be updating my my flight sim? Dang, I feel like, because if I should be doing that right now. No? Okay. But tonight, though, it sounds like, no, the update goes live 8 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. What's the purpose of the go around? This is an aborted landing. All right. And as it's already been said, wise words already, just go around. You know what I mean? We talked about my arguments for landing partial flap, and we're trying to salvage it. The forward slip is a tool in your toolbox, but dude, just go around. At the end of the day, you have to be honest with yourself. Are you just trying to salvage this because you got a burrito on the mind, dude, and this bomb place that's down the street and you're starving? Why are you flying to begin with if you're starving and it's going to make that, right? The I'm safe checklist that we talked about on divert where? To Mexico, right? Bro. You or the air traffic controller main issue. Okay, so we're talking about an aborted landing. We're talking about going around because of traffic not being separated enough. Maybe like you're number 2 for the field, and number 1 is cleared to land, and they're going slower than the controller anticipated, and you're going faster than they anticipated, right? And there's a closure rate. They could initiate a go around. Never attempt to salvage a bad approach or a landing. Just go around. So here's the way that we do it, okay? Number 1 is establish a cruise, a full power, number 1, and then establish a cruise. That's a simultaneous thing. That's why I put it like that. But really, add full power and then establish that cruise climb pitch attitude. Cruise climb, not VY. We're not pitching for VY right now. All we're trying to do is put a ton of energy into this airplane, enough to just arrest the descent. We are not interested in climbing in that instant. What we're trying to do is add power, pitch up to that cruise climb where that horizon, that climb pitch attitude side picture is such that the horizon is just above the nose, or just below the nose, or like right around where the nose is. And then carb heat off, flaps to 10, and then just rough trim. You're going to be nose up trim most likely, right? So a little bit nose down trim will help reduce that forward pressure, right? So here we are, we're coming down, looks good. Full power, flaps 10. There's that cruise climb pitch attitude right there. Full power, cruise climb pitch attitude right there, flaps 10, and then pitch for VY right there. There's that VY pitch attitude. On another point, if someone says go around, you do it, no questions asked, whether it's ATC, a student, a passenger. Act first, ask questions later. 1000%. Couldn't agree more. Right? And certainly, don't be continuing the approach and be like, why? Why? Do you see some reason to go around? It's like, yeah, dude. When airspeed approaches VY, so you got this cruise climb pitch attitude, right? Flaps 10, full power, little like rough nose up or nose down trim actually to like kind of balance things out. Trim nose up if you have to. Like by the time you retract flaps to 10, maybe the nose is coming down. Maybe you didn't have a lot of trim in there and the nose actually is coming down and you need nose up trim. I'm just saying trim whatever pressure off. You know what I mean? For myself, amputee pilot, I fly, for those of you that don't know, like I'm an amputee pilot. My whole arm is gone. So when I come in for a landing, I use trim. I use a decent amount of trim to be relatively light on these controls and to establish that descent rate and maintain that descent rate basically hands off. So for me, that's nose up trim as I'm slowing down, you know? So for me, a go around, what happens is I go full power, arrest the descent, and that trim, I can't have a lot of nose up trim because now the nose wants to pitch up. So I have to have some nose up trim. But that's another reason why me personally, I do partial flap. You know, I land partial flaps, you know, so that way the go around is not as crazy. So going from 20 to 10, yeah, like with a little bit of nose up trim, it kind of evens out, but the plane still kind of wants to pitch up. So as I retract flaps 10, and that nose wants to pitch down a little bit, but actually now it's starting to kind of come up. I need to trim nose down as that nose wants to come up so that it stays put. The only way for that nose to stay put is if I'm adding a little bit of nose down trim throughout that energy state change. So whatever you need, just rough trim. No matter what, however you get to this point, two hands or whatever, one hand or you know, whatever. Once you pick up the speed back up to VY, you continue to pitch up to VY and establish that that VY pitch attitude. See that right there? That VY pitch attitude, boom, right there. Hold that pie in the sky right here. We're holding that horizon right there on the instrument panel. Maintain VY, flap 0. Right, flap 0. If an airplane was on the runway, and if the reason why you went around in the airplane because there was an airplane on the runway, probably a good idea, and it not even probably, with certainty it's a good idea, to track the side. Put that runway right on that left wheel. Track down the side of the runway so you make sure that the guy didn't just take off on their own. You know, this is a towered airport right here. This is Hawthorne. And so, you know, the tower controller would not have, like, cleared them to take off. Or maybe they did, and it was an accident, you know? But especially at a non-towered airport, I mean, this is just non-towered airport ops, like 101, you know? Just make sure that you can see the runway, offset it, And, you know, keep checking, keep looking out front, fly the airplane first, but then boom, like make a over the shoulder check. And then very, very last, aviate, navigate, communicate, right? Number 3 in that order. Um, uh, Declare the go around, you know. Java, do you offset opposite a parallel runway? That is a really great question. If it's a parallel runway, you know, do you offset that? Um, that's a great question. So I would not offset if it's a parallel runway, and in other words, if I'm on the runway on the left, right? If it's a parallel runway and you're on the right, like screw it, like go offset that right runway, put that runway off to your left. You're in no one's way, right? But if I'm on that left runway, I would not advise you to offset and be in the way of those other guys. You know, what you still can do is you can still just barely offset the center line and usually be okay. Just enough to look over your shoulder and see if the guy is taking off or not. You don't need to be like so wide. Like right here, I'm kind of wide just to make the point. But, you know, this is well past the wheel. You know, actually, it's actually not that bad. Do not offset off to the left because it just does you no good. You know, I wouldn't offset to the left because you got no vision at all, you know. I would still offset just right of center, but very much over the runway still. And you know, and if that makes sense, certainly don't do anything to compromise safety. If they're really close together, and for example, like let's say because I'm thinking of Torrance Airport, you got a little shrimpy runway off to the left and a big one off to the right, and usually it's like one at a time. It's not that busy of an airport. Probably it's going to be traffic of similar types. Probably not that big of a deal to offset that runway just right of center, and there's enough distance between the two runways where it's like not that big of a deal, like it's actually okay. That might even happen just naturally with a crosswind, you know what I mean? So, but John Wayne, on the other hand, you got a shrimpy one on the left, a big one on the right, majorly different traffic. You got all kinds of commercial airliners taking off on the right runway, and the shrimpy one is for GA, usually. And so I would not be offsetting at all, you know, in that case. Like just fly the center line. If you want to offset very slightly and like take a look and then get back on center, no, I wouldn't fuck around at all. You know what I mean? Just have it make sense. Do what would not compromise safety. I hope that that comparison, you know, kind of put it into perspective. All right, attitude for the go around. Here's what I was talking about in terms of the go around. Like, what does the sight picture look like? We're looking for the cruise, the TPITCH. It's kind of like what I talk about in an earlier lecture, but that usually comes before this, is like those different types of pitch attitudes and what those sight pictures actually are. But really, all this is saying the pitch attitude sight picture should be such that this is cruise climb. This is cruise climb, right? This is VY climb was out here where the intersection of the horizon was on this part of the instrument panel. Right along the top here is cruise climb. But as you approach VY, we go from cruise climb to VY pitch attitude again, right? Just above the instrument panel. And then as we approach VY, right, there's VY right there. We pitch up to maintain VY, and that brings us to right there. And we just want to make sure that as we go around that we're not so distracted that this horizon starts moving down and down and down and down, because that problem right there, we're pitching up and up and up. Guarantee you this is back now into the 65, 60, 59, 58, you know, zone. Okay. Power setting, we're full power, we're trim as necessary. Yeah, this is another really important one. You want to use that wingtip as well. The wingtip sight picture is often forgotten. We're looking out the front. We're like, okay, oh, too much. Okay, and we don't realize that we're like banking the whole time. Um, uh, and you could certainly out of the front tell that you're banking, but I'm just saying like wingtip, like when you can collect yourself and you have the wherewithal, like shoot a glance at your wingtips and go, oh yeah, yeah, no, I'm banking, yeah. The wingtip side pictures are very, very useful. Is that why panels are that shaped? Are they consistent? They are. They are relatively consistent, and that is why they're shaped that way, actually. Yeah. I don't know about a lot about design, but I do know that enough of them are shaped with some visibility of the side, like of the ground out of the side, because usually when you're coming into land, you need to see that. The other thing too is you just need visibility of what's going on beneath you and to the side, and that way you don't have to like take your vision away from the front necessarily to really like look down into the side. All right. Just a few other points about go-arounds. It's a normal maneuver that demonstrates good judgment and awareness. It does not demonstrate weakness. It's not like people are watching you from the ground and like pointing and laughing. Look who had to go around. Imagine, dude, if it was like junior high somehow. The other thing too is like don't overthink it like as something that's unique to like aborted landings. Like this whole process of adding power, arresting the descent, getting rid of the drag, getting the wing flying again, and then slowly pitching up as we build airspeed, like that's full on slow flight and power off stall recovery. So go out there and practice those maneuvers, to get your go down, your go downs, to get your go arounds down. Maybe that's why. To get better at go arounds. How about that? You need to be mindful. My personal story, being the amputee pilot, like with my, experiences going around it with trim and like giving me a hard time. There's a story that I was in a Warrior, or was I in the Archer? It was a Cherokee though. It was a Piper, and I had just started weaning myself off of a prosthetic arm. That's how I first started flying. I learned to fly with a prosthetic arm, and I was going through the process after my private pilot check ride. I was going through the process of weaning myself off. Zach, you're gonna really enjoy it. Actually, it's like I talk about this in the Oshkosh presentation, and I don't talk about this specific story though, although I'm considering doing it. But what was going on was I was weaning myself off of this prosthetic arm, and I was in a phase of that stepwise process of actually landing without the arm. That was the last phase of this transition away from the prosthetic arm. And I was experimenting with trim and flaps to reduce my workload, and that's ultimately what was going on. Was I needed to make sure my workload is low, and that I am adaptable if things are not going according to plan. So I got all this nose up trim in there, I got full flaps in there, and I've got like a hands-off perfect approach. Zero pressure on the yoke. I'm thinking nice, right? And then I got to go around. So I go full power, the plane yanks up, the nose actually totally like goes for the sky, and I'm pushing down. I'm like, oh shit, and I'm pushing down on the yoke, right? And I'm thinking, dude, like, I've got to push down or do something about this. I can't hold it like this all day long. Like, I got shit to do, to reconfigure this airplane. I got all these flaps in, I have all these trim, and I'm out of hands. So what I did was I pushed it forward. I gained some speed so that when I took my hand off and the airplane pitched up while I reconfigured it, it was okay. But I mean, it was a bad situation. I'll say that. It was a bad situation. I did the right things, and I learned a valuable lesson that day. That the easier that I make my life on the approach with trim, the harder I make my life on the go around. And so it's about, like all things in life, it's about striking that balance, I think. And I still trim, but I apply partial flaps. And I'm still flying the approach with 3-finger method. I'm still like a little bit of back pressure, but I do try and fly just barely hands off. Not totally all nose up, trim, go freaking nuts with the trim. But yeah, I try and fly just barely hands off, you know? So just be aware of how that trim is going to affect that go around, okay? Flaps as well. And the other thing is, like, with the go around, you're going to need a lot more right rudder than you were previously using. And that gets students all the time, and before you know it, you're 20 degrees off heading because this thing yanked you over to the left, and you've just been rolling this whole time. So especially if you're not on top of that pitch attitude change. If you're not on top of the pitch attitude change and you let that nose go and now you're like VX pitch attitude, really high angle of attack, high power setting, slow speed, dude, that's left turning tendencies territory right there. And the airplane's going to start rolling on you. So just be aware of that. And then we got recovery. I think we're okay here to just get in the sim. Yeah, low and slow. These are actually important. So, to execute low and slow, right, we are mushy controls. When we're low and control pressures feel mushy, we're slow. We're low because we're triangular, okay? And we're slow speed. So what do? We add a decent amount of power. We are low and slow. We need power. Add a good amount of power, few hundred RPM, pitch up, maintain that cruise climb or not cruise climb, the cruise pitch attitude, right? You go from this relatively low pitch attitude to a cruise pitch attitude, build some energy, and then resume your descent. There we go, right? So here we are. Let me actually restart this. So the pilot here is low and slow. 65 is actually on speed, but if you're low, they're about to be really slow. And so you add some power here, cruise pitch attitude, get back on slope, reduce power, and then resume your descent. Also notice the point of no apparent relative motion is on the pavement. Low and slow, and the control pressures feel normal. This is where a force feedback yoke joystick becomes a worthwhile added addition. Oh, dude, yeah, I can't imagine that. That sounds awesome. If you're low and the control pressures feel normal, you kind of do the same thing, but just less, right? If the control pressures are mushy and that means you're too slow. You're out of energy. Like, we need power. We need it yesterday. Or if you guys watch Key and Peele, like, one of my favorite recurring skits is Samuel and LaShawn, the two gay guys. That's like, one's like way over the top, and then the other one's like super chill. And LaShawn is played by Jordan Peele, and Samuel is Keegan Michael Key. And LaShawn is like, we need, and they're trying to adopt a child. They're trying to. One of the skits is they're adopting a child, and I think it's that one, or are they getting married? And they're like, we've been trying to get married, no. He says yesterdoodles. We need this yesterdoodles. And I think that is like one of the, we need this yesterdoodles, my sandwich. Samuel, dude, and this guy's just like, it's super funny. If you guys know what I'm talking about, like, I love how he says yesterdoodles. So yeah, if we are low and slow, we need that power yesterdoodles. And but if we are low and the control pressures feel normal, then we're on speed. We need a little bit of power, probably level off. And right, we're low, but we're on speed. Just add some power, level off, stay on speed, and right, you add some power. Notice that we're maintaining 65 for the most part. There we go. Right, we're here, 65. Add a little bit of power. There's that cruise, the little bit of a gap, and then open up the gap a little bit, and then boom, there it is. All right. If you're low and control pressures feel firm, we are low and fast. That is a good problem. That's pitch only, right? That is just increase pitch, bleed off airspeed, and exchange airspeed for altitude. Right? No power change has been made. We're just leveling off. You notice the VSI is 0. We have a cruise pitch attitude, and now we can resume. We're on speed, and it looks good. High sink rate and the control pressures feel mushy. Right now, we're actually we have a good trapezoidal sight picture. Right here, trapezoidal sight picture. But if we are if we are low, or I'm sorry, if we're slow, and the descent rate is very high, guarantee you, even though this is a trapezoidal descent or a sight picture, a runway shape, the point of no apparent relative motion is like right here. You know what I mean? So in that video, I want you to try and make that out before the attitude change is done. Right? You can see that right there. And then you change it, you add a little bit of power, or a lot of power actually, right? Especially because remember, your high sink rate and you're slow. So you need to add a lot of power for this change. Why? If your descent rate is high, if you are descending very rapidly, your flight path is down. It's really substantially down, right? That relative wind is coming up at you. If you go to pitch up, it's very easy to reach critical angle in that regard, right? It's very, very easy. If you're slow, for sure, right? Then your angle of attack is high. But if your descent rate is also high, dude, you're near critical. So adding a lot of power. Look how much power. This is like full power, damn near. You need energy. You need energy, and to stay away from that stall territory. Look at the point of no apparent relative motion right there. Oh, I guess I can't on here. We'll watch this again here. Right there. See how that point isn't moving? Boom, add some power, and now that point is actually moving up onto the pavement. Now the point is there. Now the point is there. Right there. Perfect. High sink rate, control pressures feel normal. Add a little bit of power. Increase the pitch attitude. And if they're firm with the high sink rate, just stop descending like that rapidly. Let's see here. A high level off. Very common problem with students. This high level off right here. Like they're going to level off right there. They are not in... Look at the... remember the image before, the GIF of the sidelines opening up and expanding? Remember, we saw that out here. Like they were initially touching the edge right here, and then they opened up out here. Look at this. It's not even in view. Barely in view by the time that the student levels off. Very, very common problem. And Rich of Peak, back me up. That's a really common problem because students are afraid of the ground, rightfully so. They don't want to crash. So I super appreciate that. But the irony is you're going to crash if you don't do something about that, because you're going to lose all your energy. You're going to stall, and you don't have the altitude to regain your energy back. So you're not even in ground effect at this point. How high this student leveled off, And this was me, obviously, but I'm mimicking like a student. We've all done it. You're not even in ground effect, or you're maybe at the top of ground effect, but you're basically not having any of the benefits of ground effect. So establish a cruise, level pitch attitude, add a little bit of power, get some energy, and then ease the airplane down onto the ground. Right. Yeah, floating is a big problem. Um, so if you're coming into ground effect with a lot of energy, you might even have the power on and not realized it. Like you're going into ground effect and you forgot to go power idle in ground effect. Or maybe you are power idle and you're actually like 5 or 10 knots above your speed. You don't realize it, but yeah, you got more energy than you want. You're going into ground effect. The airplane will float, and so all you're gonna do is make sure that throttle is closed, and then just be patient. Yeah, you're gonna eat up some runway, man. Here's this pilot like floating, 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 then touchdown. Right? Float and ease it. This is like when I have a student doing this, like I remind them patience, patience, patience. And then cuz then it's going to take a few seconds for right here, it's going to take a few seconds for the airplane to start sinking. But once it does, you need to be ready for it and then add the back pressure. Right? And if it floats excessively, go around for sure. Right? Cuz now you're eating up a lot more runway than you thought you would. Hard landing. So yeah, you just want to maintain boom, right? You might bounce or something. Maintain directional control, ease it back onto the runway, and then, brake. Notice how flat, by the way. Boom, flat. Just maintain directional control, do the best that you can. Set it on, and then boom, make your way over to the center line. Then there you go, and that's fine. Yeah, never move the yoke forward. You could cause pilot-induced oscillations, especially from a hard landing. You might even it might even hit hard, and then now you're just moving forward just because of the trauma. Like as the plane moves down, that elevator does this just by the natural the trauma to the body. God, that's painful to watch, by the way. Look at this, dude. Oh, god damn. Imagine the weight, dude. Yeah, never relax the back pressure and never move it forward because you're just going to cause the thing to skip like down the runway. Let's see here. Crabbing or drifting touchdowns. So, what's to say here? Quickly move the yoke aft to keep the nose wheel clear of the runway. Remove crab with the rudder. So if you're gonna come in crabbed, which sometimes like I for the most part do not teach crab landings at all. It's too difficult, first of all, and it's just too weird. Like it's like a lot of the time if you're flying a small airplane, you should be only out there where you have even in moderate winds, where you're out with a CFI and it's a good day for a crosswind landing. You should have the rudder authority to maintain the center line and the fuselage with the center line, and you should have enough bank control to touch down with the upwind main first. But if you really are out of authority, control surface authority, and you need to crab for the landing, yeah, crab, and then at the last minute, remove the crab. Okay, awesome. Touch and goes. I think we're good here. Let's Basically, go around procedure. Just caution, you know, when you're doing touch and goes. You never close my eyes when landing, but you can feel entering ground effect in real life, but not get the same feeling in the sim. That's true. That's true. Yeah, so just handle touch and goes with caution. First 3 solos flights are supervised. After a few supervised solos, your instructor will periodically authorize you to make additional solo flights. Solo flight gives you a chance to practice maneuvers on your own. Yep, totally. Caution. Don't develop bad habits. All right, sweet. And that's it. Let's do the sim, you guys. So, great ground, dude. Like, I really, really enjoy these grounds and actually talking technical with you guys, you know. Very important that we do that. And that we don't shy away from it. And that we didn't demystify something like landing, where it's like, hey, man, you know, just keep practicing. It's like, yeah, no shit, dude. But what do I practice, man? You know? What do I practice? And it's like, well, just keep doing it, you know? It's like, no, dude. We need to break it down technically. How do we technically do it? What are the pitfalls? Like, what can go wrong? What do I do, you know? And that's a good ground. It's good right there. I handle takeoffs the same way, and I handle the traffic pattern the same way. Dude, by the way, that's typing with one hand, dude. A lot of AIM. Do you guys, are there people in here that remember AIM? AOL Instant Messenger? It's where my typing with one hand was useful. Stay up past... Oh, I'm Bandit. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I stay up past midnight on work days to watch your streams. No way. Skipper, that is the test. And I appreciate you so much doing that. And I appreciate those kind words, man. And by the way, whether it's Skipper or it's anybody, you know, or CFI, Rich of Peak, any constructive criticism from you guys, how to be better, what kind of information that you like, what kind of ratio, ground to sim, what kind of topics, dude, write in, and I'm there. I'm your guy, dude. Like, I'll do whatever you guys want to do. I'll make slides if I don't already have them. You know, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm all about it, man. Landings is a pretty safe one, though. Landings is a pretty safe one that we all, I think, you know, trying to do. By the way, for those of you that came over in the raid that missed the intro, Samurai Cat, dude. How about that? Oops. Flying monkey. Exactly. That's a cool emote. So I think the way that we're gonna tackle landings tonight, we're gonna do it from a pattern work standpoint. And the thing is we didn't talk about patterns tonight. I have before, and I definitely will again. But you know, it's gonna be utilizing some knowledge of the traffic pattern. So what I'm gonna do is, you know, as I walk through it, like I'll just be, you know, I'll break it down and stuff, and it'll be cool. It'll be cool. But that's kind of how I was imagining it. Is there any other way to do it? Yeah, definitely. You know, we can absolutely, the way that we do it in the way that I do it in real life, like as a flight instructor, like if a student's not ready, and they're usually not in the beginning, you know, what you do is you go out in the practice area and you set an altitude as the ground, and you just work on controlling the airplane in certain ways and hitting certain targets. Up at altitude. Like for example, you set the ground as 3,000 feet, and you go up there and you fly. You know, a hypothetical approach, and you go do, you know, you start at 4,000 feet, which would be 1,000 feet above the ground, right? If the ground is 3,000, and then you just fly the pattern all the way down, and you know that's always a really good exercise. And if the student isn't even ready for that, you know, you do slow flight. Maneuvering in slow flight is very good. So, but I think we're there. I think we'll hit the traffic pattern. We'll do it. We'll do it. I mean, I always think just like Long Beach or Torrance or something like that, but I'd be happy to fly the pattern at some other airport as well. If you guys are trying to do some pattern and you want to like throw a suggestion in there, no problem. In fact, I might need a coffee refill. Bird beak. All right, guys, let's do it. Fingers crossed that we don't need Is there a ninja kitty on my shirt? Dude, oh yeah, did you miss that in the beginning? It's a samurai cat, dude. It's on the title of the stream. It's a samurai cat. What you know about that? That samurai cat. Oh, you're putting... Yeah, that's all good. Okay, dude, let's do it. So I got my head tracker on and getting Flight Simulator going. Dude, and my thing, you know what I want to do? Is I want to attack landings at in different airplanes. Let's look at the similarities and the differences between different airplanes. Let's land, let's go, let's do pattern work in that TBM. You know, let's do, I say we do the Citation, the CJ4. We do the Piper Cub. We'll start with the 172, obviously. But all good, dude. My main concern with my Sim's firing up right now. My main concern with having full flaps is the go around. Oh, you're quoting. Okay, but you only have to attempt it once and feel that panic of not climbing to never forget the check flaps on go around again. Is the go around, but you only have to attempt it once and feel that panic of not climbing to never forget to check flaps on the go around again. Yeah, no, definitely. You definitely want to manage flaps and power together very, very carefully on go around, and that's why you don't want to dump them all. You don't want to be like, oh, no flaps. You know, that's why even on a touch and go, I don't eliminate flaps. You know, I keep a little bit of flaps in there and I take off. You leave the ground, you know, quickly. You know, yeah, that feeling sucks, Skipper. You got it right. That you got that right for sure. Dude, so I'm opening up the chat. Like, what do you guys where should we do this pattern work at? I mean, we can even go around to different people's airports. I mean, I'll do some pattern at all different kinds of airports. Because it's going to be the same lesson, you know? But, I mean, different environments. I mean, dude, who wouldn't love to do that? Let's do it. ACV it is, dude. And, Telluride. Okay. Damn, I'm batting it. Okay. Do that. Full flaps in a C-150 with a 240-pound passenger, and you're going nowhere? Definitely not, dude. You're not. Yeah, no, you're not going anywhere. Oh, we could do the Caravan. Would be cool. We could do all these planes, dude. Telluride, or I'm Bandit with the emote after. I'm pumped. I'm super excited, you guys. I'm really, really excited. Rich of Peak to Skipper. If it's not the lack of climb rate, it's just the rapid pitch up moment caused by the increase in power. Oh my god, that Rich. Well said, dude. Well said. That's the gnarliness right there, man, for sure. Okay, we said ACV is the first one, and we're gonna go to different places. So you guys, you know, you can chime in later as well. ACV. Oh, you know what we should do? Hey, should we do this community and be in the pattern? I mean, I don't know how that would go. That would actually be kind of cool. I don't know. You guys can like chime in about that, but ACV. Because if you guys just want to do it and observe, like, you know, that's cool too. We can actually just do it later as well. Oh, Redwood Coast, Humboldt. Okay, cool. And it looks like it's a 270 out of there. So let's actually zoom in. And we'll go. Let's see what there were. Oh, this is gonna be beautiful, you guys. Let's use runway. I'm thinking runway 19er. It's kind of hard. Maybe 32. Runway 32. And we'll start off in the 172. Now, just to stay on top of things, I'm gonna go to Sky Vector. Just so I know, like, I can fly this pattern correctly. KACV, I think is what it was. So right pattern for runway 19er and 14, which means it's left traffic for this runway 32 is left traffic. Yeah, runway 32. Yeah, it's left traffic. Okay, cool. 6,046 feet by 150. Ooh, we got a Pappy off to the left. Looks really good, man. What's the TPA for runway? Let's see here. Remarks. I see no remarks on TPA, so it'll be 1,000 feet above airport elevation, which is about 200 feet, so we'll call it 1,200 feet as TPA. Oh, I'm sorry, so 32 is common? Okay, cool. 32 is common, let's do it. Left traffic. Rapid pitch change is bad enough with 2 hands. I can only imagine what it's like with 1 hand. Oh, Rich, dude, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that a lot. I mean, it's definitely hard earned, and for both of us, you know. So I have empathy. I have empathy. Okay, let's do it, you guys. Runway 32, and we're just gonna depart here. I'm gonna have my mix full rich. All right. Hey, man. I thought I said. You could do nighttime though too. Wouldn't be a problem. Okay, guys. Cool. All right, so we're left traffic. Let's go. We've got flaps, lights. Lights are on. Mix, and we're good. Okay, cool. And let's actually go toes down. Let's go power up. 2000. Systems are green. Vacuum electrical is good. And let's go. All right, so on the takeoff, I'm just maintaining. I'm jabbing that right rudder. We got no wind in here, I don't think. Jabbing that right rudder. Airspeed's alive. Systems are green. And let's go ahead and leave the ground here. And we're just going to maintain that VY sight picture. I'm going to trim. There's that VY sight picture. Same thing that we saw in the slides, right? We're just keeping the horizon out on that portion of the instrument panel. Beautiful. Now 300 feet below TPA. TPA is at what I say 1,200 feet. So here comes 300 feet. Left turn, clear left. I'm just watching my speed here. It's kind of, my trim is not great right now. All right, square crosswind looks good. I'm actually going to power back a little bit and just climb a lot more slowly. I'm going to reduce my pitch attitude to right there. Right, see how we're still climbing, but I went from here to here. Square crosswind, and then boom. And, you know, when you're a little more confident and you know your airplane, you can... I'm actually kind of far away. Spent a little bit too much time on crosswind. You can be... Oh, there you go. It's actually not bad. You can be a little bit faster when you're a little more confident, but right now I'm just going to fly the standard speeds. I'm going to be 80 in the indicated. Notice how that downwind, I'm good distance away from the runway. The runway is about halfway up the strut. That's what you want. And right when our wingtip is abeam the touchdown, our landing spot, we'll start reconfiguring the aircraft. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to configure for the landing. So I'm going to reduce power to from 2100 to 1700 RPM. Put flaps 1 in, and then pitch for 80. So there's 17. Flaps 1. And pitching down for 80. Notice the sight picture. I'm making sure that that gap is widened, and I got my flaps in there. Here's 100 feet that we descended. Cool. Medium bank turn, descending turn, and I'm pitching up a little bit to start inching towards 75, and I want to be 70 on base. So here's flaps 2. Actually going to reduce power a little bit more, 1600. There's 70 knots. And then I'm square on base with my flaps partial right here. And it's looking good. That goes back to what we were saying on, we're actually clear final as well. That goes back to what we were saying, the importance of, god damn, this is beautiful. Look at these fucking trees, dude. I'm sorry, but that's like, wow. You know what, we're going back to 17, there we go. A good power setting to make sure that we're there all the way in. In fact, I'm fast, right? I'm fast, but I'm on speed. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna reduce power, level off, bleed off some airspeed. And what I'm doing is I am using my rudder to keep the fuselage of the airplane centered. Now we are actually on, there's that trapezoidal shape, but the point of no apparent relative motion is there. See that? So I'm gonna add a little bit of power, level off, and scoot that point up on the pavement. We're on speed, using my feet to keep the fuselage of the airplane on the center line. Here comes ground effect, power idle, level pitch attitude, shifting my gaze to the pie in the sky, and back pressure to just ease it on. Right, and then flaps 10, full power, right rudder to get back on that center line and get off the ground. Yeah, Java, this is a really like crazy looking place, dude. This is beautiful. Now I leave those flaps in. Notice the flaps 10 are still in. I leave them in for there's 32 right there. Safe altitude, safe speed, positive rate, flaps up, and that's 300 or 400 feet above the ground. The aim tells us that we turn crosswind 300 feet below TPA. No, Skipper, I'm actually not. But I mean, I asked you guys if you wanted me to. I definitely can be. I definitely can be. Flying pattern together would be pretty awesome. I just didn't want to have my because I want to be walking you guys through it. I didn't want to like distract. You know, I didn't want it to be like a distraction. And there we're going to reduce our power setting to 21. Level pitch attitude. It's a slow cruise. Level pitch attitude. There's the. I'm actually going to diverge a little bit. There we go. 2,000 RPM seems to be working for us for 80 knots and 1,200 level. And I'm going to get back on. I would like to join you in the sim, practice along with you. You know what? You got it. So I think what I'll do then is, I would like that too, actually. Let me restart this then. I'm gonna go to the main menu. Let's do it. Navigraph. I'm actually gonna go to game capture. And then what I'll do is do maybe, oh no, world map. Flight conditions, and then what I'll do is server, that's right, West USA, yeah, West USA. And actually I don't think I needed to sign out. I didn't know I was already on a server, so I'm gonna line up on the runway and just call it a day right there. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go group only, I guess, right? It's group only, and then no air traffic. Can you show pattern entry from higher altitude? Oh, sure. Yeah. Let's do... First of all, is this correct, you guys? If I have the multiplayer off, all players? Air traffic... Oh, here, all players, I'm sorry. And then that's it. Okay, cool. And then from you said, can you show pattern entry? So here's what I'll do is I'll depart and then I'll turn around. And I'll set it for like 10 a.m. So that should be good. I already see some players in there. So you guys can practice these. Oh yeah, priest, of course. You guys can get started. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go off for priest. And boom, there we go. Now, how do I see who's who? I want to put on the markers for people. Is that like a camera option? Upper position. Nameplate should be on by default. Yeah, I don't see nameplate for the guy that's over there. Not camera. I think it was over in this, right? I think it was options. Oh, you're too close. Oh, really? Okay, cool. So I'm just going to see if it's on default. And I'm just going to go fly. I'm going to take this off. And let's just go ahead and do it. So priest, I'm going to take off. And since it's left traffic, I'm going to do a left crosswind departure. And I'm also going to be up at altitude too. And the way that we want to do traffic pattern entry is 45 degrees downwind. Yeah, we got some folks in here, dude. Sick. I love it. I love that we can do this community stuff, dude. I just hope that it's not too distracting, you know, like and if you guys are able to fly and watch me at the same time. Oh yeah, so left crosswind. So there's our left crosswind. Bam, like that. And you guys can just keep making the rounds. I'm gonna be back. I've always been confused on how to properly enter the pattern. No problem, dude. No problem at all. Yeah, I'm just gonna depart here. So what you want to do, let's say that we're up at altitude, right? Let's go up. We know that traffic pattern altitude is like 1,200 feet here, right? So let's say that we are up at 2,500 feet. One of the things that you want to do is be in the pattern, or you want to be at traffic pattern altitude just before entering the pattern. You do not want to be descending to traffic pattern altitude while in the pattern, right? Because what you don't want to do is inadvertently descend onto somebody. So number one, you want to know what direction the pattern is going, and number two, you want to know what that pattern altitude is, and you want to plan your descent accordingly. But assuming that you know how to plan your descent, you can just be down there early. The next thing you want to do when you are on your way down to your let's go up to 2,500 feet. The next thing you want to do is enter on a 45-degree downwind. So yeah, you want to be working your way down to TPA, but see, we have the runway in sight, right? We have the runway right there. And so the traffic, you see these guys doing traffic like that, right? So what we want to do is enter 45 degrees, that angle right there, 45 degrees downwind on the downwind leg. So let me show you what I mean by that. So here's 2,500 feet. And we can see here that the airport's in sight. We want to get down to TPA. So I'm gonna go power back, and I'm gonna descend, not super duper rapidly. I want to descend here so that we are at TPA, you know, before the pattern. And what we're doing here is, notice that we're coming in at an angle. Like right here, we're not straight in perpendicular to the runway. We're at a 45-degree angle to the downwind leg. And then what we want to do is turn from the 45 to the downwind leg. So here we are making our way down to TPA at 1,200 feet. We're going to be at TPA before the pattern. Here's 1,200. I'm going to add some power and attitude for performance, right? We're going to level off here at 1,200. And then, boom, make a nice gradual turn to the downwind leg. So that is how you enter the pattern from a higher altitude, and sort of the planning. Oh, Rich of Peak. We're using 3-2, runway 3-2. It's a left traffic. We'd love to have you in here, buddy. Okay, so back now that we've entered on the 45 downwind. We've got we're in the downwind. We're at TPA. We're 80 knots. That's like 2,000 RPM, 2,100 RPM. We're making sure that the runway is halfway up that strut. And right when that wingtip is a beam 6722 Charlie, that's you, Skipper. That descent looks really, really nice. Really nice over the threshold. Very good. Is anybody else on I don't see anybody else on final. I'm gonna descend here. I'm gonna go power back. 1700 RPM. Right? Flaps 1 and the top of the white in the white arc. And I want to pitch for 80, hitting those targets. I'll load in on the crossing and join the pattern so I don't cut anyone off. Nice. Flaps 2. Yeah, Priest, that's a great question. It's a great question. So now that we're in the pattern, right, there's 75 in the turn, medium bank turn. We are 70 and 700, so we're working on 70 on the speed. Zachy, what's up? Hello. We clear final, and we are base to final now. So I am on just for you guys. I'm base to final for runway 3-2, just so you guys know. Now coming around base to final, we immediately are shifting our gaze to the runway center line, using rudder to keep the runway, you know, to keep the airplane aligned. And then any I'm gonna reduce power here. Any aileron to angle into the wind and control our ground track. I'm a little fast here, so I'm gonna reduce power. Keep that nose down a little bit. And then start my back pressure. Boom, power idle into ground effect. Level off, be patient. Sidelines are coming up. Gradually add that back pressure. Boom, right there. I'm gonna go flaps 1 and full power, right rudder. Airspeed's alive, systems are good. Zachy's back in the air on Sunday to stay current. Ooh, dude, nice. Yeah, gotta stay current, gotta stay proficient. That's the other thing. You guys, let's add some wind. Oh, sorry about that. Let's add some wind. I'm gonna add wind is let's see here. We're let's do 280 at 5. .280 at 5, okay? So we have 280 is out of the west. So we're gonna need left aileron for the ground track. Sorry to do that to you, Skipper, right on final there. It's like Skipper's on final. Let's send a tornado right through here. All right, so I'm gonna power to 21. Remember, when we're hold on. When we're coming into land, I'm over here. By the way, what airport is this? This is Redwood, so Humboldt County. So Humboldt traffic. I am 510 Charlie Mike is downwind runway 32, Humboldt. All right, we're white arc, flaps 1. Power reduce, and we're maintaining 80. And there's our first target, medium bank turn. Oh, I was saying we do not automatically get your weather. Oh, I wonder, how can I get... Oh, okay. I need to work on that then. I don't know. I wanted to make it windy for you guys. A little bit of wind. So if you want, I guess you can make, you know, the weather. If you're in a group, you can, I believe. Oh, so Rich, so you guys are getting my wind? Flaps 2. If you're getting my wind, it should be out of the west at 5. So nothing really too crazy. I have live weather. Oh, gotcha, Skipper. That's why. Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. I understand. Gotcha. So I'm going to put wind in for myself then, for those of you like watching. And what you'll see is the airplane actually wants to be pushed and weather vane to the left. So I'm going to put right rudder in to keep the fuselage down the center of the runway. And I'm applying a little bit of left bank to keep the airplane on track. Power idle going into ground effect. A little bit of bank to keep it on track. Right rudder. And bam, there's that, easing it on with the nose wheel. There we go. Flaps 1, full power. Right rudder, and I have left aileron into the wind. Pitch for VY. Now I'm gonna actually use a different airplane. I've been doing a couple laps in the 172. Are you guys able to... It won't matter that I'm gonna get out of this and pick a different airplane, right? I could just come join you guys again. Let's do it. Let's do it in the... Let's do it in the TBM. Ooh, black. Nice. Love it, dude. This thing's gonna be badass. This TBM was what I was, one of the first planes that I saw in the advertisement of Microsoft 2020. And I was like, oh my God. There was one parked for real in next to the flight school I used to work at. And such a beautiful airplane, man. Let's see here. Parking brake off. And let's see here, we got flaps still. And oh, you know what? I want to set my heading bug. There we go. All right, let's go. Rich of peak in the downwind. Positive rate, gear up, flaps up. What's a quick outside view? I should have that hotkeyed. Damn, shit, there's TPA. Alright. Alright! Priest! Thank you so much for the follow. Love this channel. You're the best, Phil. Oh, dude, thanks for sharing your hard work with us. You're the man, Valiant. You're the man, I insist, dude. Thank you so much. Dude, that means so much to me, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love your enthusiasm. I love your energy. Fantastic, dude. I'm over here, just loving hanging out and sharing the passion. You know what I mean? We're all passionate. And thank you so much for the sub, by the way. Really, really appreciate you helping keeping the channel going. Okay, you guys. So I am Humboldt traffic. This is a TBM 510 Charlie Mike, downwind runway 32. Looks like we got Maxwell on final, so I'll wait for you, Max. I'm gonna pass you first, and I'll be sure to not be. I'm doing 162 knots, so I'll be sure to chill out. All right, and there you go. I'm gonna go. Power reduce. By the way, do you guys know, is there like an F something? There's an F key command for a hotkey outside of the airplane? And I'm gonna go gear down. Flaps 1. I'm gonna go partial flaps in this as well, and I'm gonna just manage my energy here. We're over here 900 feet. A little low actually, we're way the F out here, so I'm actually gonna add power and number pad 0 and 1. Ooh, I don't know. My number pad 0 and 1 don't work for that. And I'm gonna go flaps, landing flaps for this. TBM, my favorite plane. Sorry I was busy or I would have been in earlier. Oh, dude, no, my pleasure, my pleasure. Gear down 3, green check. Yeah, the TBM is such a beautiful airplane, dude. It's so crazy. I'm gonna hold, got full flaps, so I'm just holding 100 knots. I'm actually, probably should be, what, 90 on final? We still, what we're doing is we're showing that it doesn't really matter what airplane you're in. The basics are still the same. Short final gear down through green check, and flaps are there. Notice the runway shape that we were talking about. That's a tall, long runway shape. So I'm trying to reduce power, lower the pitch attitude. Humboldt traffic, TBM 510 Charlie Mike on final runway 32. This will be a touch and go. And here we are bringing that nice runway shape back in. I've reduced power. That point of no apparent relative motion is right there. And now I can go into ground effect, power idle. But this plane is heavy, so just, you know, caution. Here comes those sidelines. Ooh, ooh. Awesome. Go flaps 1 and full power. I'm assuming these left turning tendencies are going to be ridiculous. Airspeed. Ah, you guys, dude. Thank you, man. You guys are great. Positive rate, gear up, flaps up. Don't sink. Yeah, no shit.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
Okay. Okay, pull that power back. Yeah, I don't know, Valiant. It's such like an ambiguous like message, you know. All right, we'd want to square crosswind and then immediately get into the downwind, maintaining 2,000 or 1,200. Yeah, you guys. By the way, what are these hotkeys, man? I got no external view hotkeys. Anybody know? I'd love to just snap back out to the external view if possible. Humboldt traffic, TBM 510 Charlie Mike is downwind runway 32. Press end key. Oh, end. And then what? Oh yeah, baby. Oh, and then, well, what's... Oh, shit. Accidentally. Did I just shut off my engine?
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
No, I think I just... There we go. Okay, cool. Landing gear down and flaps 1. Oops, not flaps yet. All right, Humboldt traffic, TBM 510 Charlie Mike is downwind to base, runway 32. Humboldt traffic. Let's try that again. No, dude. Yeah, no, I need a new, I need a hotkey, if you guys know it, for 01 numpad. Yeah, no, it's not that, dude. So we've got, okay, flaps 1. Is your num lock on? Turn it on and then 01 on number pad. Yeah, no, num lock's on, dude. Humboldt traffic, TBM 510 Charlie Mike, base to final runway 32. And gear down 3 green check and landing flaps. Ooh. I'm trying to do what I can. I need to like get the stuff, like the actual speeds and stuff. How do you put the data on the outside, like on the outside view? Shit. Yeah, because I'd really like that outside view. Matt Joe's trying to do some pattern work in the 737. So weird to not go around. Okay, flaps 1. Positive rate, gear up, flaps up. Why are you telling me don't sink?
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
God
Don't sink.
damn.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
Oh, dude, it's back. It's N key. Gotcha. Okay, cool. But so N key again, it does not bring up the data. So, but I do want to show. I want to show that. You know, I want it to, because I could probably fly it without being in the cockpit if I just had the airspeed information. Sight picture's not a big deal. Insert key maybe. No. Dang, it's a good thought though. Good thought. You want to do it through OBS. It takes some set. No, it should be just a view that you have, like a switch through Humboldt traffic, TBM 510 Charlie Mike, downwind runway 32. Got nobody on final, so I'm gonna keep it tight though this time. Sorry guys. We're here at 170 knots, so we're a beam. Power reduce. Right. Gear down. Humboldt traffic 510 TBM 510 Charlie Mike is downwind to base, runway 32. We're gonna go flaps 1. Alright, and then let's go put in that last notch of flaps. And we're clear final. We're pretty high, using our base leg to actively like evaluate our energy, and we're pretty significantly high. So I'm gonna keep that power low, keep that pitch attitude, that nose down, maintain 90 knots, and now we're actually on slope. So I'm gonna add a little bit of power and keep it coming in just like this. A little bit of trim. Matt Joe is doing his startup, you know, pre-taxi, his run-up, and pre-takeoff checklists all on the actual runway. Kind of ill-advised. Coming into ground effect. Just holding it off. Whoa, not used to that view. All right, airspeed's alive. Positive rate, gear up.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
This is freaking ridiculous, dude.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
Dude, Valiant with the gift sub. Such a, always in the giving mood, dude. Valiant is awesome. Thank you so much, Valiant, for the gift sub. Thank you, more importantly, I think, though, for the energy that you bring to the channel. And I just really, really appreciate you greatly. All right, and Humboldt traffic, TBM 510 Charlie Mike, crosswind. We're on a downwind for runway 32. Looking at docks, your HUD setting may be off in the general settings. Okay, cool, let's do it. General settings. Display, full screen, VSync. Let's do data maybe? No, not that kind of data. Steep turn downwind. Miscellaneous. No. Accessibility? Maybe, traffic, huh? Show traffic nameplates on camera tab. Camera selection, quick view, hold, zoom, cockpit camera, instruments, view mode toggle. Instrument heads up is on now. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, there it is. Sweet. There we go. Oh my god. Dude, nice. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for helping me with that. You guys, I'm so excited for my new yoke, because this yoke has just had it. You can tell I'm like bouncing all over the place. Gear down. Look at this shit. The fuck? Dude, this makes my F-18 stuff like impossible. Humboldt traffic. 510 Charlie Mike. Downwind to base. Runway 32. Look at this. The fuck is going on with this yoke, man? Alright, dumping my flaps, so I got landing flaps in there. Gear down, 3 green. And we're high, so we're just gonna keep coming down. This airplane is really nice, though. One of the crazy flights that I did, and when I first got this sim, was you know, you can go all over the world, you know, and so I was look at 6722 Charlie is way out there in space, dude. They're trying to enter the pattern from Mars. I did a flight in Egypt in oh my god, fuck this fucking yoke, dude. Jesus, man. Look at this shit. You fucking dumbass, man. Shit. I did a flight with the TBM in Egypt, dude. Like around and did some like instrument approaches and stuff. It was wild. But yeah, beautiful airplane. I just love it. Cool, flaps. Alright. I hate you so much. Inhibit, yeah. Inhibit that shit. No? I hate Taz. God. Oh, it is a bug? Oh. Alright. Flaps up. Java, thank you so much for the sub. Oh, and by the way, oh, Valiant, dude, I appreciate the acknowledgement, man. Like, sticking the landings with the screwed up yoke, dude. I appreciate it, man. You're awesome. You are awesome. All right, there's 1,200 feet. Square our crosswind, and boom, let's get into the downwind. Yeah, this thing is fucked though, dude. I'm really excited. I actually am upgrading my yoke. It's nothing crazy, but I'm going with the CH Products Eclipse, I think it's called. I don't know if you guys have an opinion on that, or look at this fucking piece of shit. God damn, dude. I hate it. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's like unusable, dude. This shit is unusable, man. Try and land on an aircraft carrier like this on an F-18, dude. The other day was brutal. Oh, fucking fuck you, dude. Okay. Gear down. 6722 Charlie. Skipper, that's you, bud. So I'm going to let you go ahead. I'm going to give you some space here so I don't overtake. And I'm just going to level off. I love my Thrustmaster Warthog. Not the yoke. It's a stick, but smooth as glass. Aw, dude. See, that's why I wish... I mean, you know, there's like a lot of things that I would do with two hands. But, like, I would... Number one, I would game mouse and keyboard. And I would also be a stick dude, like, all the way. Like, you know, as a kid, playing games, like, with a control stick, Humboldt Traffic 510 Charlie Mike is on an extended base for runway 32. Yeah, but, you know, having it be so separate from, we're clear final, by the way. Fucking hell. Having it be so separate from the throttle, like, it's really, really tough, man. It's really tough to go back and forth, you know. And I want to put together a good experience, like a good product, like for you guys and stuff. And like, yeah, does the Eclipse have everything? Yeah, that's the thing, is the Eclipse. It has everything, like the one that I have right now. It has everything on it. Which is really, really cool. It has all the power prop and mix, like, right on the unit itself. So I'm gonna get out of this TBM and I'm gonna try and hand fly the Citation pattern, dude. And I'm gonna go flaps landing. Valiant, you know what's up, dude. Oh, fucking hell. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it. I hate it. Oh my god, fuck you, dude. Are you kidding me? Sorry. I'll watch my language. Keep that nose down. Too high. Get down in there. Not doing too bad considering I have a broken yoke. Okay. And then Citation is an awesome aircraft, fun to fly and land. Absolutely couldn't agree with you more. Let's do it. Whoa! All right. There was no evidence of that. Let's go to the main menu. Damn, that is a sick library, though. Let's do the Citation. Oh my god, dude, the Beechcraft. The King Air. Oh my god. Okay, here we go. Oh, dude, let's do, what should we do? Xbox Aviators Club? Global Freightways, Kenmore. I kind of like this weird looking, but I want to buy the throttle quadrant if they have anyone has a suggestion. Yeah, does anybody have a suggestion for Maxwell on a good throttle quadrant? I'm sure you guys are way more knowledgeable than I am on this. Java, you love the honeycomb. Why do you love the honeycomb? What's your affinity? If I can get one. Max sub! Dude, thank you so much for the sub. You're awesome, man. You are awesome. Runway 32. I appreciate it tremendously. I appreciate the support. Tier 1 for 3 months in advance. A 3-month sub, dude, max. Dude, we're gonna be doing good things, man. Absolutely, we're gonna be doing good things, dude. Keep it going. Keep the channel absolutely going. And the really cool thing, and you guys that are subbing, like, dude, you will not be let down, I promise. Like, what we're gonna be doing is I'm gonna be teaming up with with CDL and Microsoft Flight Sim. We're putting together something like a course for you guys, for higher certificates, like without speaking too much about it, we're putting together a course, something super educational, super like interesting. We are let's do it actually. We got takeoff flaps. We're gonna freaking gas up, dude. It's gonna be amazing, and what I'm doing is putting something. I'm gonna say TPA for the citation is 2,000 though. Yeah. No, totally, dude. Positive rate. Gear up. Flaps up. Back
landing
that power
gear.
off. 700, we're at 900. This shit is tripping hardcore. There's one, we're coming up to 2,000 right now. Let's go crosswind. And back that power off. This is super fun, dude. I can't believe I'm gonna fly some like pattern work in the freaking citation. Nailed 2,000 right there. Oh, dude, I should have set my freaking heading bug, dude. Let's go downwind. Humboldt traffic, Cessna 510 Charlie Mike is... Oh, shit. We're doing 600 or 270 knots. Turn that down. There we go. So we're at 2,000 feet. Have to go now. I have a presentation in the office on Friday. I have to organize everything tomorrow early morning. Hey, dude, you know what? Best of luck organizing it. I know it's going to go really well. Thank you so much for hanging out and contributing. We got a Maxwell base, runway 32, everybody. I got you on base. Actually, you're base to final now, it looks like. And I am downwind, so I'm actually going to power back here. And thank you, man. Thank you for everything that you do, for bringing good energy to the to the stream. I have you on final. You're awesome, man. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. All right. Okay, we are geared down. Flaps 1. Humboldt traffic. Cessna 510 Charlie Mike. You got it, Max. Absolutely, absolutely. 510 Charlie Mike is base runway 32, Humboldt. And we are clear final. 160 on base and slowing down. Let's go landing flaps. Gear down 3 green check. Trim. Ooh, we are low. Very low, very low. Ooh, and we overshot final. Shit. So I'm gonna gas up. Keep the speed nice. Looking for like 120 knots on Short final, maybe 100. And then I want to cross the fence at like 90. So here we are, vertical squeeze. Oh shit. Okay, flaps 1. Oh shit.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
It's
Don't
another one.
sink.
Don't sink.
Don't
So
sink.
it's a bug like across all aircraft, it seems, right? And you guys know what we got to do here in a couple minutes, right? We got to get off Microsoft Flight Sim and go do pattern work in the F-18. Some contact cleaner on the yokes posts should make it as new. You think? Really? Is that... I don't realize that. Huh. I'll think about it. Oh, thank you. Alright. Okay, guys, so we're 2,000, so Humboldt traffic 510 Charlie Mike, downwind runway 32, Humboldt. Actually, you know what? I feel like I can't even do the F-18 like until that new yoke comes, man. All right, gear down. Flaps 1. Or actually, well, approach flaps, I should say. It is approach flaps, right? Yeah, there we go. Approach flaps. Humboldt traffic, Cessna 510 Charlie Mike is base runway 32. With landing flaps, gear down, 3 green, check. Man, trying to figure out Sky Beluga. Thank you so much for the follow. You guys are so cool, man. You guys are so supportive. I'm trying to really figure this out, this pattern work here. The energy management's really tough when you're, you know, with a lot of things changing very rapidly.
500.
There's that trapezoidal sight picture that we were looking at, or looking for. Still way too fast. 140 on final, no, short final, no way. Shit, this fucking yoke, dude. Somebody holding short of the runway just saw like a really tough time that I'm having with my yoke. Positive rate.
Don't sink.
Gear up.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
Flaps up. Yeah, dude, the citation, man, that's pretty gnarly in the pattern. Let's see what else we got. Let's dude, I gotta do the pits. Actually, you know, the airplane I'd really want to fly is the Caravan. I haven't done that before. Ooh, actually, the King Air. Sorry about that. Oops. For those of you joining us, that are just joining us, we're out here on the West USA server. We're KACV. Go ahead and join us. Runway 32 in the pattern. We'd love to have you. Oh. So I only have one. So that's a problem. Hold on, wait 1 second. I need to set my controls. Prop should be simultaneous prop. The yoke for power management, propeller. Not propeller 1 actually. That should be prop. Yeah, propeller. It should be propeller axis actually, not propeller 1 axis. Start scanning. For, yeah, clear the current input. Prop axis, yeah, search and then validate. So prop 1, do I need to, yeah, so I need to clear that. And that should be good. Now we should be able to do the prop there. Ooh. Apply and save. There we go. Very nice. Now the condition lever, that should also be there. So condition. Rich of Peak, I'm off to bed, 1 a.m. Fun screwing around in the pattern. Have a good night. Hey, you know what? Thank you so much, man. And always great to have people with good energy in the chat, in the stream, and especially, you know, you guys, you know, Rich of Peak, CFI, very very cool, man. Thank you for adding to the positive energy, dude. We'll see you soon. Condition lever, dude. Like, how is this like an issue? Where is the name? Right? Flight control systems, power management, throttle, mixture, flight control surfaces. How is that not a thing? Weird. You guys know? I'm over here like having a hard time finding maybe under mixture. Well, that's what I thought it would be. You know, if you go to expand and if you go to on the yoke, right? And you go to power management under mixture. Oh, I see what you're saying. Hmm. Weird. Is there no way to... Do you guys use the turboprops and like do you guys have ways of changing the condition lever? Well, the thing is, Skipper, so like if I go to mixture, I know that I have mixture on an axis, but the thing is it's not mixture, it's condition. It's a condition. It's similar, I guess, but see, it's not, nothing's happening. We got the prop, the power, and nothing is going on with the condition lever. And that'd be really nice to, you know, be able to manipulate that condition lever. Look for axis then. All right, positive rate, gear up, flaps up. Humboldt traffic, Beechcraft 510 Charlie Mike is upwind runway 32. There is a mixture axis not wanted, and there should be a blank axis for condition. Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking, man. There should be a condition lever axis, I would think. So search on axis to find it. Well, that's what Skipper. I mean, I typed in condition and nothing came up. Something about made it in a 3-position switch instead of axis. Oh. 3-position switch instead of axis. Whoa, by the way, we are really low, you guys. Apparently we've been... No, search on axis? Okay. Dude, I almost crashed into the water. Okay, you guys say search controls on axis. Okay. Drone, let's see here. Let's just start collapsing. Power management. Oh, maybe flight controls? Miscellaneous? So they, SU6 made it, update 6 made it into a 3-position switch instead of axis. I see. So what is it even under, though? Miscellaneous? Gear down. Flaps 1. Pretty. Oh my god, this is fucked. These people have no idea, like, how screwed up my yoke is and how lucky they all are. Like, these people just having lunch, going to school, no idea. Landing flaps. Clear final. Let's slow this thing down. I'm thinking 120 on final, or 1 something. Yeah, that's that. It's not the end of the world, you know, if that's the case, Java. You know, I just moved it into flight idle out of ground idle. You know. Okay, we're 120 on final. Of course, this thing, as far as I know. Oh yeah. Okay, we're coming up on 110. A little bit of nose up trim. Knots. Power idle into ground effect. Oh my god. Nice. Alright guys, I think that's gonna be it for me for the night. I'm going to take a break here, and I think probably come back, maybe play a little bit of video games and stuff, but that's it as far as a sim goes. This yoke is absolutely driving me batshit crazy, dude. So, but I did want to say that you guys are freaking awesome, and I just love having everybody in the stream, and I love to be able to do something like this together. And I hope that it was as fun for you as it was for me to go through landings and, you know, exploring landings in different aircraft, same exact things that we're trying to do. And, you know, it's just a really, really fun time to, like, be able to do that with you guys. So thank you for making it awesome. And I really look forward to the next stream as well, Valiant. So I'll be back actually probably in a few with maybe some video games or something like that. But in the meantime, you know, you guys have a good time. And I will, hey, I passed my private check ride yesterday. Dude, Java. By the way, I passed my private check ride. Hold on. Hold on. Passed my oh, by the way, I passed my private pilot check ride. Everyone get down for Java. Dude. Fantastic job, Java. Nice job. Pass your private pilot check ride. Dude, you're a pilot. You are an actual pilot. FAA certificated. Dude, super, super proud of you. Super proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. You're awesome. Okay, now before I go, let's actually, like, let's raid. I need to raid more. Who else is up? Oh, I don't really have... Now, why am I not seeing... Hold on. I know that there are people up right now. Hold on. Oh, Ground Point Niner. Why can't I raid him? Yeah, okay, cool. For some reason, it's not showing up. You cheered for me when I said I was scheduling it. Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah, dude, you're awesome, man, Java. All right, guys, I'm going to send you over to Ground Point Niner. This guy is awesome. And interesting perspective from like a ground controller or, you know, an ATC a controller's point of view. And really cool guy. I hope to actually fly with him in the jet on the 30th, which would be a really cool thing to in real life, you know, stream. But in any event, let's go over to Ground Point Niner, and you know, he'd be interesting. He's ATP, you know, which so he's got an airline transport pilot certificate. He's got major time. He's an in real life jet pilot, not an airliner, but another late night skipper. My pleasure, dude. As always, love having you in, dude. Love having you in there. He flies the Eclipse, I believe, for a private lease. So I'm gonna send you over there. Let's do it. All right, good night, guys.